Welcome back to Between Two Fans. And it is another episode where we get to basically abuse my co-host Dan Scholes for the wild season that Liverpool is currently having. And every single time we jump back on this podcast, it just gets progressively worse. But basically, what we're really here to do is just chat sport with a bit of a South African bias to it. We're going to be talking rugby, cricket, football, a little bit about the Masters last week and a general sports catch-up with a little bit of humor, hopefully, a little bit of banter throwing it around there. It is myself, Stevie P, and Mr. Dan Scholes. And Mr. Dan Scholes, sounds like a bit of a tough week going on over there. Are you all right? Are you okay?
Yeah, a deep breath, Stevie, one step at a time. It's, I'm at an all-time low right now. I think this... Cyclops in the middle of my forehead is just the beginning of my issues when it comes to, not even getting to watch the Stormers this weekend. Then just think about Liverpool's last week. Once you forget, Stevie, and I don't even want to get started on the predictions and my recent.
Well, I think you might as well compound your misery. Like, whilst not to kick a man while he's down, but to kick a man while he's down. Should we go through them?
Let's do exactly that. Get it over and done with. So, if you're new around here, this is a segment that Stevie and I do where essentially we each make predictions and Stevie gets it right and I get it wrong. But
the stats don't lie.
We're working. I have a lot to blame and I don't think I can be lower than this moment. So, you have to hit rock bottom to turn things around. And I think that's what might have just happened this last week. But getting into it, our first match was Northampton versus the Bulls. At the time of recording, Stevie, we did not know that the likes of Currie, Arends, Willie LaRue, Canan Moody weren't going to be flying over to England on all, not one of the 8 flights or were carrying the Springboks. So the Bulls suffering a 59-22 defeat there to the Premiership leaders. Stevie, your prediction was Saints by 5. Mine was Saints by 2. I say you've just hugged me there at the bottom. I recall going first, and essentially anything more than 2 was a win for you. Nonetheless, congratulations. Game 2 was the Challenge Cup, Edinburgh versus Sharks. Sharks hosting them in Durban and playing a really good game. I covered that on live on Forever Sports, and they were clear ahead by must have been 20 points or so in the last 8 minutes, only for them to let in 2 more tries with the end score being 30 points to 36. Stevie, I thought I had this one in the bag with Sharks by 10, but your Sharks by 7 has just pipped me. So that's yours again. So it's 2-0, and 2 out of the 3 already gives you the win. But if that's not enough, we bet it on the Masters. And I'd like to give us a little clap, Scotty Scheffler. I mean, us and the whole world. It doesn't take a genius.
Can't take too much credit, pretend we know too much what's going on. It was a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, about as safe as they come. But your picks of John Rahm and Neiman were closer to the top than my picks of
not
Koepka
great picks
and Hovland. I mean, Rahm and Koepka tied for 45th place at 9 over. Neiman tied for 22nd at 4 over. Good performance and a good shout from you, to be fair. He had a decent knock around there. And my boy Victor Hovland, absolutely blowing the lights out and not making the cut at 8 over after 2 days. I'm not sure if you saw the clip, but he was pretty much just playing putt-putt by the end of it.
Yeah, that last period you can see he was over it, which is very uncharacteristic for him.
Very uncharacteristic. That means he's probably going to win this weekend. I love my Norwegian boy, Victor. But a great Masters. Pity there was Scheffler wasn't driven all the way to the end there. I thought Homer might just continue sinking a couple more putts. I thought Bryson was going to stay in the mix, holing out on the last hole of day 3 as well to really take a bit of momentum. But, I mean, Scotty Scheffler, he is just so cool, calm and collected, and just looks like golf is a real hobby to him.
Yeah, look, I mean, they're saying this is the best. It's a Tiger run. It's if you look at some of the best runs in golf, this is up there with some of the best that Tiger's had. It's up there with what we saw from Rory McIlroy in the beginning of his career. So there's no more doubts. I don't think there ever were, but I mean, he's just a class above the rest at the moment. I really enjoyed Aberg. I mean, debut Masters to come 4 shots off from winning from the lead is an
not
hell of an
debut
effort.
Master, I mean debut major as well.
Yeah.
Insane.
So to be able to do that as well was very cool from him. Tommy Fleetwood has, if you look at his last few majors appearances, lots of top 10s, lots of top 5s. So, and something I'm so desperate for him to win a major. So maybe he can just sneak one there this year.
Or for me, after Hovland, the most likable guy on tour. I mean, just what is there to hate about him? And he wasn't actually with his caddy. I'm not sure if you saw, but his caddy stayed at home, so he had the local professional at the Augusta Country Club, Augusta National, to help him out and just join for the week. Apparently they'd met before, and I think they figured out that the caddy would have racked in a sweet $80,000 or something to that.
No, not terrible for 4 days of work, eh?
Not terrible at all. Got to take your chances, as they say. But Stevie, big rugby weekend, quarterfinals of the Investec Champions Cup is finished. Most notable shock was the Harlequins beating Bordeaux away from home in just the most electric atmosphere. French rugby is just in a bit of a different league when it comes to the atmosphere that they generate at their stadiums. Other results were Leinster beating back-to-back champs and getting the revenge against La Rochelle, 40 points to 13, to lose with a blowout win against Exeter, 64 points to 26, and Northampton, again, as we mentioned, beating a B team, Bulls, 59 points to 22. Stevie, let's start with that Harlequins game. I mean, no one really predicted that one.
Yeah, and I was absolutely mentioned. I was in a pub at the time and catching up with an old mate. So it was kind of like keeping an eye on it. And every single time you looked up, it was just like a different score, and it was just Harlequins ahead, Bordeaux ahead, Harlequins ahead, Bordeaux ahead. It was like the most mental game to watch. And this Harlequins side, I mean, I suppose the fact that the gestures, the logo is just so appropriate that you just don't know what to expect from them. Some days they're one of those teams I like to describe as, I think on their day, lots of teams can beat them, and on their day they can beat anybody. They've got some Mavericks in that team. Good to see Andre Estes playing good rugby. Tyrone Green, who's somebody I think a lot of people have forgotten about. Yeah. And he had another terrific game, so he's putting himself up there. There's quite a few staffers in that Harlequin side, so it's cool to see them.
Those Tyrone Green comments from, I think it was last week after his man of the match performance. The reporter asked Tyrone, so what is your allegiance? England or South Africa? And he says, South Africa for now.
For now. Yeah. Which I don't like, a lot of people get upset about it. I don't really mind that sort of attitude. I mean, I think, everybody wants to play for South Africa, but at the end of the day, international rugby is international rugby. And just like I've got no resentment against any of the Scottish guys, if he's putting in performances week in, week out, and, all indications are he's not even on the radar, and Steve Borthwick phones you and says, listen, you could be my starting fullback at the World Cup in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
Are you really going to turn that down?
No, I think the opportunity to play international rugby overrides, any kind of allegiance to South Africa, because you only really have one career. You might be around waiting. It's not exactly like Tyrone Green's got Rassie Russ's number and going to be like, listen, are you going to pick me or what's the vibe,
And he's not saying no to the box, he's not getting a call up and saying, no, I'd rather play for England.
Yeah, but I think with that comment, he's teased it a little bit for now.
Well, I think, but I enjoy that as well. I think it's, listen, I'm out here playing my rugby, but I'm not going to hang around, So, if I'm on your radar, then let me know I'm on your radar, because if you don't, then I'm going to look elsewhere. So I don't massively mind the comment. I think a lot of people have a bit of a meltdown about it. I think South Africans in particular just never gotten their heads around South Africans playing for other teams, which for me is just a weird thing to get upset about. I mean, you see it so often in so many different sports and stuff like that. And the world's become such a small place. I don't really have much of an issue with it. I certainly don't resent any of the Scottish players, for example, and stuff like that. I don't sit there looking at Paul Willemse going, he's a traitor because he plays for France. If people make decisions and they go over there and they get the opportunities, then great.
Yeah, I mean, it will be a different story, I think, if we weren't good, right?
Yes, yes.
If we were shite, then we would be saying the exact opposite and saying, how dare they, come play at home, this, that, and the rest of it.
But then chances are, if we were
Ireland,
bad, then they would be choosing not to play for us. They'd be actively choosing not to
well,
represent
I think
us.
that's the point, right? We would
Yeah.
need them more, whereas now it's a case of not made the selection criteria. Alas, we digress. But what a game that was! I mean, Luka missing a kick with a couple minutes to go, but it's just back to back. I mean, most of these games, the amount of points scored, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of forgetting how to defend for a second. But geez, what a spectacle of rugby it was.
Yeah, once again, home advantage proving key. Bordeaux being the only one that went down just by 1 point. Apart from that, 3 big wins across the other quarterfinals and all home ground advantage. Should we talk about the Bulls and the disrespect to the Champions Cup and showing why the Champions Cup will never work and should never invite South African teams and everything wrong with the competition, and apparently now it's all just means nothing because the Bulls dared to send some non-Springboks over to Northampton. It's been a big talking point. Scholty, where are you sitting with this whole sort of debacle? Are you on Jake's White's side? Do you think this shows you why this competition is not sustainable? What's the chat?
It's definitely sustainable. I listened to Courtney Laws on the Rugby Pod this morning, and he even reckons that in the build-up, he reckons that there weren't 8 flights. He reckons that South Africa Rugby was trying to throw off the Saints, and the whole flights thing was just completely blown out of proportion, and we were doing that to throw off Saints. So it's just this underlying narrative, I think, with South African rugby that we're up to no good all the time, and that there's always a plan that's undercover, and you kind of get like a little bit of insight. We do things a little bit weirdly, and that stemmed from kind of this Rusty era, right? Even just down to the way that we cover up cameras and we practice indoors and use video games and stuff like that. Just like use Rusty as a water boy. It's these different tactics, and now the club rugby world is exposed to this. South Africa as well. Do I think the Bulls should have sent a string side? I think that's up to Jake White to decide. He chose not to. I would have loved them to, because I think that would have made for an unbelievable game. I'm incredibly disappointed that they didn't, because they were South Africa's last real opportunity to go far in the competition, or not real opportunity, their only opportunity to go far in the competition. So I'm very disappointed that they didn't, especially because I think they have URC qualification in the bag, but they clearly want to make sure that they get that home semi-final, and a lot is riding on that fixture that they have now this weekend versus Munster, because essentially that's what they're competing for right now, is that home semi-final.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me is that Jake White said basically at the beginning of the season that they can't win the Champions Cup. He's basically said that for South African teams to try and win the Champions Cup, you've got to go away for that semi-final. It won't necessarily be at the home stadium, but it'll be in Europe. So you're going to play against Toulouse or Leinster, in Europe, or even if you get to a final and stuff like that. So I think quite early on, they were quite realistic. I think for me, and this is apparently, the article where, all the talks about they're going to get sanctioned. First of all, there's no ways you can sanction them, because at the beginning of the season, you've got your squad of 40 players, and how you choose to use those 40 players is the coach's prerogative.
Yeah. Well, what an embarrassing.
I mean, imagine like that they're going to investigate, potentially sanction. I mean, imagine a football team gets sanctioned because they choose to rotate a few players in a Europa League clash or something like that. It's about splitting resources. The whole point of having a squad.
Do the exact same for Leon, who came and visited the Bulls with the B-string team as well. Do the exact same for Leinster, who play a B-string team in half of the URC games. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
look at the Lions versus Benetton, and I mean they sent over a B side, but nobody complained because it was a pretty close game and because they're the Lions. And they're not that high profile.
What are you going to use as your objective truth of the quality of a player? Like how many followers on LinkedIn they have? LinkedIn, Instagram. It's just a ridiculous argument to get to. And I don't think anyone is really taking that seriously. I hope no one's really taking that seriously. But the as I said, I think Jake White, he made the right decision. He saw he was going to go away, come home to Munster, and then because South African teams can't host semi-finals or a final, we were going to go away again to whoever we were going to play in the semi-final. And he just said, absolutely not. Like, I would weigh, like, the chances, even if I get through, I'm playing Leinster, who I want to beat in the URC. So he's essentially chosen, okay, we're going to probably have to beat Leinster. I'm going to pick the URC to do that in, which they've already done 2 seasons ago, by the way.
Yeah. So I think they basically said they want to win the URC. And if they do win the URC, I think his decision gets completely vindicated. You know, I think if you sit there and say, well, we're walking over the URC, then no one's going to sit there and say, oh, but you went out of the Champions Cup. I mean, you look at Leinster, they haven't won either in a number of years here. You know, they've never won a URC. They haven't won the Champions Cup in a while. So, you know, prioritizing the competition, you know, for a team like the Bulls, who I think are still building, and this is the whole point about the South African teams, that they're building squads so that they can eventually be competitive. I mean, you look at the Sharks, for example. You know, they're in a situation where moving forward, they could leave behind a Bongi Benambi, a Oxenchair, and Vincent Koch, and still take Trevor Nyakane, Intuko, you know, and some really good players. Obviously, that's kind of what the Sharks are trying to build, that kind of 35 star quality kind of Leinster type depth where they can make decisions where they can leave 8 or 9 players at home and still have 8 or 9 quality players. That's kind of the whole point of, you know, the rebuild currently happening in South African rugby. So for me, it's time. It's the second year we're in this damn competition. Like, can we just chill? Also, it's a scheduling thing. If this game happened in 2 weeks' time and we had, you know, more time to prepare, then chances are, you know, whether there were or, you know, whether, I mean, I don't think it was quite as much as Courtney Law was saying that it was sort of cooked up, but that there definitely were travel issues. If you had more time to plan around sort of travel, then maybe they could have sent a stronger team, for example. So I think the format of the Champions Cup needs to change anyway. And if they can look at trying to sort of accommodate more sort of time and stuff like that from a logistics point of view, then that becomes quite an easy way to just enhance the competition. But we're 2 years in from having South African teams, so this whole thing of it's a failure and stuff like that. I mean, we had a team in the quarterfinals. You know, you look at the games to come, and in the final 4, for example, there is only one English team. So 2 English teams. There's only one French team and one URC side. So it's not like, you know, Ireland are just this dominant force and had like all these various teams. They also had only
if there were no South African teams making the quarterfinals, you could understand. It's like, well, what's going on here? Like, now you really don't care because you're not even competing in the group stages. But
and Sharks are in the Challenge Cup semis. You know, so they're not just taking part; they're adding value. They're getting there.
Exactly. And we're at a point where, you know, we can't compete salary-wise with the likes of the French, like come even closer, even like, you know, Leinster. So we kind of have to pick one of the others. Sharks are completely down and out in the URC, but they've said pretty much out loud, Challenge Cup is what we want to win the season. We don't care about the URC anymore because it's a lost cause. So that's their best way of getting into the Champions Cup for next season.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, we could have, and so if the Lions clutch up, for example, we could have all 4 South African sides in the Champions Cup next season, and then have a cheetah side in the Challenge Cup. So, you know, just we'll get there, boys. Let us cook.
Now we must rely on Lions to play well. Now we're asking a lot of the listeners here to buy into this.
Well, they're about to beat Leinster on Saturday to go into that top 8. So don't you stress.
Okay. I think the Leinster under 23s maybe. Stevie, before we move on, there's been a bit of conversation about viewership. And while we're on the topic of South Africa, South African teams coming into the rugby scene, showing that Super Rugby Pacifica has actually shown higher YouTube viewership in their highlights than the URC, and then the Champions Cup. A lot of people speculating that it's still the South Africans keeping an eye out on the New Zealand and Australian, past enemies or club enemies rather. What's your take on all of it?
Well, I think it's been no secret that South Africa brings the biggest TV audience, or one of the biggest TV audiences in the world when it comes to rugby. and we've seen it from a stadium perspective. For example, the numbers have been really good this season from a in stadium audience, and since the four South African sides have joined the URC have had back-to-back record-breaking seasons. And you look at the top most watched games in the URC last season, 9 out of 10 of them featured a South African side. Only 1 out of the 10 didn't, and that was Leinster versus Munster, which was in ninth. Lions versus Leinster drew more viewers last season than Leinster versus Munster. So it shows you the power of the South African audience, which is why they want to make the Champions Cup work and the Challenge Cup work and the URC works, because it's easy for a journalist or an England rugby fan to sit there and say, oh, well, they're not from here, they shouldn't be here. The financial gain that you get from South Africa from a fan point of view and a viewership point of view is massive. I think looking at that YouTube thing from Super Rugby, I think that's more reflective of the fact that people are not watching it as religiously live. I must admit, I don't watch a lot of Super Rugby these days. If it's on and I'm by a TV, I'll turn it on. But I might go and sit there and say, well, the Status played Hurricanes. Let me just catch up with that on YouTube. I think that seems to be quite a common sort of viewership type of thing, where people are not necessarily, they're not invested enough to go and watch 6 Super Rugby games during the weekend, but they'll flick on the highlights on the Monday afternoon. I think a lot of the worlds are still sort of keeping a one eye on it, but not that invested in it.
Yeah. And I mean, we've already seen the announcement of Jordie Barrett coming over from Super Rugby to Leinster. I mean, just as if Leinster need any more help in their team, just add one of the best players in the New Zealand outfit, and if not that, the world, into your team for another 6-month loan. And I think we're going to see a lot more of those. I think the whole of Super Rugby, to be honest, is kind of looking over his shoulder now, and they have been for the last 2 years now that South Africa is out of the competition because of not just the viewership, but just the quality, I think, that we brought to that competition. So obviously, for New Zealanders, they still have kind of the contract in place that you have to be contracted with the local union to be able to represent the national team, unlike South Africa. And there's a lot of conversation now about how the English are going to go forward with that, with a lot of people going over to France. Most notably Owen Farrell, the captain, opting to do that with still a couple of years left, that he could definitely be playing at the international level. So it's interesting to see how I think the world of rugby is navigating kind of just the dispersion of players, clubs, and club and international matches themselves. Obviously the Club World Cup just being announced. Everyone's kind of find a grip, and no one's too sure what the future holds and where people will be. So I think there's going to be a lot of movement at the moment, and I think South Africa kind of sit in the middle where we can pick and choose where we want to be, because of how strong our audience is.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm just so curious to see what's going to happen in the next World Cup cycle. You've got Australia Rugby, which is in the dumps. They've got everything they need to try and revive it in terms of a British and Irish Lions to a World Cup, but Super Rugby Pacifica is just not attracting the interest that they really hoped it would. At the same time, the financial muscle of the European sides is only getting bigger, and now we're seeing, the Premiership are seeing it from the French side. I mean, French rugby is really showing the template, French and Japanese rugby, to be fair, of how to be sustainable. Because you look at the Premiership, the money, and all the Premiership sides are all busy going bankrupt. So the Premiership's currently unstable, which is why I always laugh at a Stephen Jones, for example, who is, Premiership diehard UK journalist, and continuously slams the URC. And you sit there going, well, the URC is profitable. It's teams are not going barely up in mid-season, stuff like that. So it's a weird competition to go after. But so I think that we are going to see a much bigger global game. I mean, England players are all making moves to France. Players in their peaks, their powers as well. You look at Narundle going to wrestling and rooting himself out of England for the time being. You're seeing Welsh players and the sort of the collapse of the Welsh system. A lot of people are complaining about the Irish system now, given the fact that whole central contract system is basically just continuously reinforcing the Leinster dominance, and people are saying that it's not working because they're saying, look at all the central contracts, and like 70 to 80% of them are all Leinster players, and yet they still can sign a Jordie Barrett because they've now got money being freed up by these central contracts to go and bring in a Jordie Barrett, an Arcus name. And what about and Ulster, who are in financial strife. So there's so many different broken segments within the rugby world, but at the same time, there are so many success stories as well happening around. So I think we're about to see a massive reshuffle in the rugby world order. And I think that what we're seeing now is going to be completely different to what we're going to see by the time we get to the 2027 World Cup.
Yeah, I think very difficult to kind of know where that is. I think each country is trying to have the most growth outside, but also make sure that the local unions are still intact. That's why it's so important, like for South Africa, to keep competitions like the Currie Cup strong and incentivize, I think, people outside of just the four big teams to be able to, get the limelight outside of just the Currie Cup. I think there should be promotion relegation. I know you're not for that, but I think that's a whole debate for another day, because we've been yappering about rugby for some time now. So let's get into the football, Stevie. Obviously, as we speak,
what a weekend for us!
Yeah, what a weekend for us. Let's quickly start. Well, as we speak, the Man City versus Real Madrid games and Bayern Munich versus Arsenal has just kicked off the second leg of the semi or quarterfinals of the Champions League. There, both are tied,
effectively 0-0.
Obviously, last night, big win for PSG after a red card for Barcelona in the first half, going on to win that game 4-1 and 6-4 on aggregate, and a massive win for Dortmund, who've gone to the semi-finals for the first time in a number of years, coming back from 2-1 behind on aggregate to win the whole game 4-2 and 5-4 on aggregate. Again, much like the Champions Cup, Stevie, people are forgetting how to defend. Just goals. Hopefully more.
I know you talk about playoff games and how they're supposed to be close and stuff like that. And I mean, we had 2-2 and 3-3 in the first leg of the City Madrid, and then last night we had a 4-1 and a 4-2. So it's maybe it's the new generation. There's no such thing as these close playoff games. Everyone just kind of goes balls to the walls.
Yeah, don't tell Jose Mourinho, because
maybe this is why he's struggling these days.
This is not his era, Britt. This is not his era.
He needs to go back to the early 2000s.
Yeah, but reflecting on the Premier League this weekend, Stevie, some crazy upsets. First of all, kicking off the weekend with Newcastle thumping Spurs 4-0 at home, really rocking that title race, and that was only exacerbated by Villa going away to Arsenal, getting a 2-0 win. Arsenal, and that was they were following a disaster class from Liverpool, losing 1-0 to Crystal Palace, who were even kind of edging their way towards almost a relegation scrap, probably freeing themselves up from that now with those 3 points. But just capitulation, what it looks like at the moment between Liverpool and Arsenal. I mean, Liverpool within the space of 2 weeks looked like they could have, were confidently getting at least 2 trophies this season, and now it looks like the Carapoa Energy Drink Cup is probably only thing we're going to get, with City clutch and bringing out the 5-1 win as they now lead the league.
Yeah, weird actually, and I think again, it's funny how and look, we're yet to be vindicated. There's still a few rounds to go, but we kept talking about the fact that I never thought, unless Arsenal the 4-5 point lead, I just looked at the run and thought that there's so much space for Arsenal to slip up, and then they kind of did. Wouldn't say at the first hurdle, but more or less, we getting to a Villa, which was going to be a tricky game, but a game that a champion team should beat, and then going down. That kind of summed it up. City now with a 2-point lead in the top of that table, with probably the best running of the three. You don't see them losing. And look, especially based on tonight. I mean, if they get knocked out by Real Madrid tonight, they've got Chelsea on the weekend in the FA Cup, but then they've effectively got 6 or 7 games left in the season to try and win them a double. And I don't see them really stepping up, to be honest.
It's kind of a case of, listen, they have the depth to go all the way in all the competition. We know that because they won the treble last season. Is back-to-back trebles completely off the cards? I don't think so. I think
we'll find out in 90 minutes, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, this is their biggest game, right? This is probably the hardest game they'll play for the rest of the season. Like, in my opinion, I think the Bayern-Arsenal game, it doesn't matter who they play. I don't think it'll be harder than City,
Real
and I
Madrid.
don't think anyone they're playing in the league's harder. Chelsea certainly not. And while Manchester United, I think they'll brush aside the next biggest competition could be Coventry in the final of the FA Cup. The only hope, if Coventry derail a Manchester City treble, that will just be the most unbelievable scenario of just football heritage that there is.
Okay, but let's all be very serious here. Eric Ten Hag is going out like Van Halden with an FA Cup win and sacked in the morning.
Yeah, no J Links to save him though.
Yeah, true. We'll bring him on loan.
Yeah, maybe he swings back. But we've got the FA Cup this weekend, Stevie. The semi-finals, that is Manchester City versus Chelsea, and Coventry Man United, as you alluded to, both at Wembley. So you feeling quite chipper about your likelihood of getting through to the final there?
It's United. I've got no idea what United will rock up. It's the United that drew to Liverpool, beat Liverpool in the FA Cup quarters, and then drew to Brentford and almost lost, and drew to Bournemouth over the weekend. It's so difficult to call what happens. I mean, you can't be losing to Coventry really, so got to go there and get the victory. Could be a smash and grab. I mean, it would be the most Manchester United thing really to have such a terrible season and flip their way to an FA Cup title, and you sit there going, well. I mean, I suppose it's something, but yeah, I'm pretty confident. I don't think we'll go all the way. I think we win this game, and yeah, City or Chelsea, I wouldn't feel particularly confident against either because I think that we were just United. In theory, we should beat the Chelsea, but we're a team that are capable of losing that game, and against City, while you're playing against arguably the best team in Europe, so. Yeah, I think we'll be fine this weekend. I think City-Chelsea, I think, could be a bit of an interesting game yet. It is in London, so Chelsea, obviously they'll split the fans 50-50, but Chelsea, will have a big support there. They're also a bit of a weird side. I mean, you think they scored 6 goals, when they're not arguing over penalties. Every now and again, they look like a half-decent side.
The only team that can still be the laughing stock after winning a game 6-0.
Yeah, correct. And deservedly so. I mean, it was the most childish thing. And I enjoy Pochettino coming out and saying, like, it was ridiculous. Basically.
It reminded me of Kepa refusing to go off in the Carabao Cup final, just saying to Maurizio Sarri, no, I'm staying on for the penalty shootout, proceeds to lose the penalty shootout. I wish, but the best thing about that, I forget who said it, so I can't credit them, but someone said, you don't see Madueke and you don't see Nicholas Jackson begging for the ball when it's to draw the game versus Manchester City in the rain. You don't see them wanting it then. So why the hell are you asking for it now? Give it to Cole Palmer.
And that's why
this season. What?
Yeah, and Cole Palmer's he's in the golden boot race. I mean, yes, literally 50% of them are penalties, but he's in the golden boot race, so of course he's going to grab it. And
of Chelsea's goals though, so you still have to give the man some credit. I don't think he's missed a pen since he's been there as well.
No, he hasn't.
So ice cold. I mean,
yeah, and I enjoy Conor Gallagher getting involved and telling Madueke and Nicholas Jackson to basically bugger off and said, "Listen, he's the penalty taker, therefore he's taking it."
I really like Conor Gallagher. I think he's actually without him, I think at Chelsea this season, he's been one of the only kind of mature heads there who's kind of been giving them consistent performances. But maybe an upset versus City. They'll be leggy after tonight, and they're playing Saturday kickoff. And Chelsea will just be
and it's Chelsea side with nothing to lose.
Absolutely nothing to lose. And they had nothing to lose versus Liverpool's under-21s and still lost that, so we can't bank on that either.
And look, they've got a mental few weeks, because they've got Chelsea and they've got City on Saturday, Arsenal on Tuesday, Villa on Saturday, and then Chelsea on the 2nd of May. Spurs on the 2nd of May. It's ridiculous.
I think also Spurs play, I think, every single one of the top 4 still with the league remaining. So they've got a hell of a run in. It's nice though. Good. There's a fight.
And all of them in a row, hey? So the Spurs they just played Newcastle. They now got Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Burnley, City. How's that for a run in?
Jeepers. Yeah.
And then Newcastle again.
Poor Burnley, bro. You got to feel for them in the middle of that. But yeah, I mean, it makes for a good relegation battle in the Premier League this season, a good top four rate, and a good run in, or hopefully could be a City walk in, but let's see how that goes. I was about 60% confident. I've gone down to about 6% confident in my boys Liverpool, but yeah, I've come to get used to it. Let's move
Speaking
on
of get used to it, as we move on to the cricket, do you think we're ever going to get used to RCB always having somebody at the top of the run scoring rate, always having the best batting lineup in the competition, and being stone dead last with 1 win from 7 in the IPL?
Yeah.
It's the most ridiculous franchise I've ever watched.
Yeah. How Virat Kohli is still loyal to them, it boggles my mind. Just go somewhere else. They're not building a team around you. They're just
they're not serious, dude.
Every single time. Like 3 batsmen to do it. If RCB couldn't win an IPL trophy while they had ABD, Virat, and Chris Gale in the same team, and Maxwell, but was he there in that era still?
I think he came towards the end of it.
But just those 3 in their prime, you're not gonna win it with just a batting lineup. Like, news alert! Come on, guys. Yeah, it's just the most RCB thing to have Virat Kohli as the leading run scorer by like 50 runs, and then to be at the bottom of the table. I'm a Daily Capitals fan, and we are just a horror show of a franchise as well. But I'm so glad we're not RCB.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see. I mean, Mumbai as well. The financial giants in the IPL, and they're sitting down in 8th. Rajasthan Royals, who've always been a bit of a strange franchise. I mean, they're 6 from 7, and so cool to see them getting this job done. Sunil Narine single-handedly just dragging KKR through.
At what point did he move from like an unbelievable spin bowler who could do a bit of pinch hitting,
contribute to just one of the best batsmen in T20 cricket?
Yeah, he's literally third. He's tied third for runs scored, 276 runs at an average of 46. Like, what is that? Like, this guy has been ridiculous. I think I missed this transition somehow of him becoming this unbelievable world-class player, and it just shows you kind of the talent that West Indies still have if they wanted to put out like a full-strength team.
But is that not just the typical West Indies thing of becoming in as a bowler and basically ending as a batsman? You look at a Karen Pollard, you look at an Andre Russell, and all these guys who come in as bowlers, and by the end, I think West Indies they just love batting. All the players just love batting.
Well, Stevie, to be fair, it kind of contributes to a bigger conversation that we wanted to have. And is there anything kind of left for your average bowler in T20?
Yeah, well, why would you want to be a bowler?
I mean, we've seen the highest ever score again for the second time. Sunrisers setting 287. And to be fair to RCB, they actually came pretty close with 226. That's over 500 runs in 40 overs. I mean, ridiculous stuff there. Like Travis Head, 100 runs of 41 balls. And it's gotten to the point that if you score 100 off 70 balls, you're actually wasting time. It's not that impressive. You need to be at 150 plus, 160, 170
plus, yeah.
Like it has to be, because people just aren't going out. And it kind of begs the question of what T20 ends up being. And it kind of always has been a bit of a circus show of cricket, and the spectacular, bring in full crowds of people who don't necessarily love the sport but are there for a good time. You can't necessarily say that for India, to be fair, because they are obviously diehard cricketers, but certainly that was the tactic for the SA.
But that was the point of the format.
But it's hard to know whether this is successful or not. I don't know what your opinion is on it.
Yeah, I don't know. See, the problem is I look at it as a cricket fan, and you always test cricket, for example, and the longer formats, and it's the competition, isn't it? Ball versus bat. And at the moment, you kind of feel that you might as well just take a bowling machine and line up 120 balls, and see what happens, and see who you can clear the boundary the most. Because 287, you just score 260 runs and lose in a T20 game it's getting a bit moronic.
It's probably
Yeah,
going to be
and
the
it's
top 5 scores ever in like IPL history, and you're on the losing side.
yeah, and is it that entertaining? My gut says that maybe every now and again, in the select thing, it's been cool to watch. But if every game goes this direction, I don't think it becomes entertaining. I mean, you're a bowler, and an economy of less than 10 starts becoming good. I
Yeah,
think that becomes a very, very dangerous place in the game. They're not taking wickets, for example. I mean, Sunrisers were 287 for 3. Even RCB were 262 for 7. So, it's
yeah,
not like, being bowled out. Look, today Delhi Capitals, completely opposite, got bowled out. Jared Titles like 89 or something City, but that was a bit more of an exception than the rule. The question is here, Scotty, is how do we fix this? I mean, for example, Golf's talking about, the rollback of the ball to try and make sure that the ball doesn't go as far. What do we do? You can't make the grounds bigger. You can't just go and say, right, we're going to make grounds bigger. Do we have to now make more regulations about pitches to be a bit less flat, I suppose, more competitive? Do we have to start putting more regulations on bats so that it's not so easy to clear the boundary?
I think the most obvious thing is, there has to be something in it for the bowlers, right? I think that's just obvious, but you still want it to be entertaining. So I don't know if it's like an introduction of like a 2-piece where the ball swings more. I mean, no one hates the stumps being knocked over and cartwheeling, right?
No.
There's nothing that's not entertaining about that.
I mean, you see a ball that starts on middle, just deviates slide, takes the outside edge, regardless of the format. You watch that and you think that's just class.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think you need to be necessarily a cricket fan to admire, an unbelievable Yorker or an in swinger that kind of goes between bat and pad. I just think the pitches can't just all be roads as well. Like, obviously, there going to be times where it's great, and everyone speaks of like the 4-3-8 game because it is this mammoth total, and you chase it down, and it does create for good watching, but only I think when it happens on occasion, and it's
it was an anomaly, and that's kind of the point.
200 runs what used to be a very, very competitive score in T20 cricket, and that isn't anymore. And perhaps it's down to, I think, also these cricketers are now taking their physicality a lot more seriously. It used to be
power hitting,
timing game.
Technique is going secondary to just the raw power. I mean, you watch some of the shots these guys are playing, and it's a power game. That's why Andre Russell has become so effective, because he hits the ball a bloody mile.
Yeah, and
he mishits it and clear the boundary with ease.
With continuously like improved bats, they're also just flying. They're lighter and they're hitting the ball further. They'll break much sooner than the old English willows would have. But it is exactly that. You don't have to time it to hit it for 6 anymore. So I think there are a lot of contributing factors. We love watching runs, but there just needs to be something in it for the bowlers, so that they, as you said, like 10 runs and over shouldn't be the most admirable thing, or less than 10 runs and over should be the most admirable thing for a T20 bowler to get. I mean, dot balls are just coming at a premium nowadays. It's really kind of a rarity to see. Stevie, let's quickly reflect on some of the South Africans' performance this World Cup, just because we've been keeping everyone up to date who's been listening for the last couple of episodes. We still have Heinrich Klaasen up top of the South African rankings. Kind of slowed down a little bit. Strike rate now sitting at 199.
That's actually unacceptable, really. I think
Yeah,
out of the World Cup plans, needs to cancel the contract.
Yeah, but I mean, still 253 runs from him. Faf slowly starting to find a little bit of form now at an average of 33, 154, sitting in a kind of 11th position. Tristan Stubbs also now continuing to contribute. Obviously, he had that big 71 not out at a strike rate of 190. Quinton in and amongst it, 174. Markram been a little bit disappointing. Strike rate
Started well.
Yeah, started well, but now striker 125. I think he needs to kind of pick up his game. And now Miller, unfortunately, coming back from injury, only scoring 2 tonight. So sitting on 79 runs off 4 innings. Not a great start from him, and still only see the 2 innings from Brevis. But we're still seeing the skeleton of a really strong batting lineup there. I think I'd like for a couple more of them to kick on and kind of show some big time performances. But as we mentioned in previous episodes, it's such a long tournament.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, for me, I've seen enough to know that, for example, from a talent point of view, I think we still can boldly say we've got some of the best batsmen in the world. Australia and India are looking really good. And I mean, look, Josh Buttler starts batting like he's batted yesterday or the day before. And it's an interesting, T20 format. It's such a short format that one player can really win you games. That a T20 century, for example, like a Travis Head, 141 balls. You can go out there, do whatever you want, get a couple of edges, and you'll find your way to a 230 quite comfortably.
Yeah.
I think we started off really well. I've been very impressed with Stubbs. Faf's looked much better. Again, Osprey going to bow out, and he's under a lot of pressure from a captain's point of view. I don't think it's his fault. I think at the end of the day, it's about you say a poor workman blames his tools, but he's got a bunch of tools bowling for him at the moment. So what can he really do?
He's got tools bidding on players is what his issue is.
Yeah. I mean, you just look at the auction, and in fact, must look at that, guys. Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
They're kind of hoping for Cameron Green to score 500 runs over the tournament and take 50 wickets. That's just the kind of the pressure that they're putting on like an all-rounder in this type of format and with the tactics that they go for. It hasn't worked up to this point. I don't think it will ever work. But
can we talk about something I want to talk about? I mean, we go through the bowlers, but KG, who do we can take at the moment. Gerald tied with him, a bit more expensive. KG looking a bit better from an economy point of view.
No.
Andres had some good goes. Unrick looking really poor, but I'd really like to talk about Kesh.
Yeah,
who got a game.
Finally.
Got a game.
Two games.
Bowling. Two games, and looking tidy. Looking in an IPL where people are taking people to the cleaners. 2 wickets already. Nice and tidy economy of 6.5. I mean, he is the hardest working player you'll ever come across. The most quiet, humble, non-assuming type of character. So for him to get a contract, go over BUs, and then be so effective, I think is so cool.
And it's the most got to be the most frustrating thing. Because, I mean, no one picks what they're good at in cricket, right? And if you're an international spinner, you just really have not struck the golden pot because India has more than enough spinners who know how to get the most out of their track. So
you have to be able to bat.
Yeah.
You have to be all around it. You have to be able to contribute with the bat. That's why Shamsi will never play IPL because you can't bat.
Yeah. And, they have spinners that can do it, but like you're just so stoked for someone like Kesh, who, as you know, as we said, is just like so humble and just kind of waited for his opportunity. I mean, only going at 6.5 and over in this IPL, ridiculous. Hopefully he continues to get a couple more games. He's going to be our frontline spinner for the World Cup, so we need him kind of continuing to produce on that level. But just exciting. It's always exciting when you see an international non-Indian spinner in the IPL because it's just such a rarity.
And who would have thought that at the moment the two South Africans looking potentially the most likely to win the IPL would be Nandre Burger and Kesh.
Yeah.
In that Rajasthan Royal side, which is just mental at the moment.
Yeah, no, they're looking really strong. I still, you can never discount CSK as long as Dhoni's
they know how to win.
His mere presence just subtracts 20 runs off the other team, just his presence behind the wickets. And he'll probably be doing it still in another 10 years' time.
Correct.
Still hasn't cut his hair. More.
He'll be keeping with a walker.
But there are. I think there are a couple of good outfits. But as we said, it often games can just be swayed by like literal one person just going absolutely nuts. And everyone's kind of given license to be fair. No one blames you if you go out while swinging. No one's protecting their wicket. And that's just kind of the pitches that these guys are being given, to be fair, and going for.
Yeah, 100%. Dan, should we get to your favorite part of the show?
Let's do it, Stevie. And I haven't told you about this, but I've got a proposition for you. Because I think this whole going back and forth and deciding, what we think the score is going to be and who's going first, I feel like this is what's getting me down here. So I think we need to go. I think we need to do a little 3-2-1, and at the same time say our scores. How does that sound? Because I think this is what I need for the tides to turn. If it doesn't work this week, I'm happy to go back. But I think this might just be what is needed to get my season back on track. How does that sound?
Yeah, okay. No, we can look. I mean, at the end of the day, whatever's going to make this competitive, because that's a bit like Scotty Scheffler right now. Cool, I can rock up, I can win a green jacket, but if I'm not able to try, it's
this is my handicap. Either that or I go second on every single one. But I don't think that's fun for anyone. So let's try it for this week. Let's try it. Let's see how it works. So we're going to start with Bulls Munster. Bulls hosting the Irish club team as they fight for, they're probably both. I'm not sure if Munster can quite get to second, but Bulls definitely wanting second position in the URC. Obviously competing with Glasgow there as well. Steve, have you got a score in your head? Tell me when you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you going to count us down? Or?
Yeah, so we're going to go team by number. Okay. 3, 2, 1 after 3, not on
Bulls
3.
So then I'll go whatever.
If you just go, okay, I can really Bulls. Okay.
Third in there.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Bulls by 12.
Bulls by 12. Oh, man. You see, it's just already gone off. It's gone off. It's done. We're going to have to redo the entire thing.
The entire days. Okay.
It's fallen apart at the
Do
first
any of us
hurdle.
want to budge? Or shall we go again?
Bulls by 15.
Okay.
I'll budge.
Okay.
I'll budge.
Okay, sure. That's nuts. You see, we're already drawing a bit of likeness there. We're already drawing a little bit of likeness. Okay, second game. Glasgow versus Sharks. The other team. Looking good. Glasgow at home.
I think if you just predict based on you had your chance to research for the show. So if you don't do your research and don't check, then Sharks are away though.
Sharks are away. Okay. I'm ready when you are. You count us down this time.
All right, cool. All right, so 3, 2, 1. Glasgow by 8.
By 3. What did you say? Glasgow 8.
Glasgow by 8. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that one. I don't know if the Sharks will send over a good team. Okay, and then last one, FA Cup semi-final, Manchester City versus Chelsea.
So we're gonna go 3, 2, 1 team and then score, hey? As opposed to by 3, 2, 1 City 4-1 or 5-2.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah, you ready? You can't get down yet.
Yeah, I'll start. 3, 2, 1 City
3-1.
Okay.
There
we go. I was thinking 3-1. 3-1 was I feel like that's the obvious score though. Cole Palmer 2 penalties, classic. And Madueke and Nicholas Jackson 2 arguments. Jokes. I don't know if they want the smoke in Wembley.
No, they won't.
Okay, well let's see how this works. Maybe listen. I'm clutching at straws here, but I need something to turn cheapers. Steve, before we wrap up, we said we would check in with the Champions League and give an update on the score. And everyone here will know kind of what's happening because the game is really done. But the only difference is, and it's good news, is Real Madrid are beating City.
Ahead. Up Madrid.
Come on, Madrid. Come on, Bayern. Just knock them out. I mean, it's not good for Liverpool's chances in the Premier League, but I don't care.
I want 2 things. First of all, I want to see City drop it because I can't have another City treble. And then I want to spend my day tomorrow fetching Arsenal fans.
Yeah, no, they're going to be catching. Catching a lot of water.
No, let's catch all the strays. I mean, just before we started the podcast, I just did a little quick scroll on X and saw a post from an Arsenal fan talking about Saka being better than Bale. I was just like,
wow.
You guys you just don't help yourself. I just don't understand. Every single time I try to give you the benefit of the doubt, I see a post like that, I'm like, no, guys, come on.
Yeah. And it's always poor Saka, the most likable guy, right? Don't make me hate him. Don't make me hate him.
But you're doing a really good job.
I don't want to. But a fascinating game there. Stevie, thank you so much. Thank you kindly.
Yeah,
What a great
I hope your week improves. I hope this time next week you're getting a better time there, eh?
Yeah, we're working. We're going through the mud. What we didn't touch on was actually chasing the sun, and we'll give a good final round review of that. I mean, just it's on its way to being just number one on my list of sports documentaries. But we'll give it maybe a whole season full 5-episode review after this Sunday. And even better news if you're a rugby fan, Squidge is releasing the Rugby World Cup final video finally that's been taken down off YouTube. So we've got a treat this weekend, Stevie. I can feel the tides turning, and none more so than my score predictions, hopefully.
Yeah, well, look, Lions to beat Leinster and United to an FA Cup final. So I'm set for a good weekend.
Okay. Calm it.
Just speaking to existence, right? Well, Dan, thank you very much. To everybody else, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and follow the podcast on whatever you're listening to. It's available on all your favorite platforms as usual, and you can find various clips across the different various sports channels and stuff like that if you'd like to check us all out on all of those. And we'll be back next week, same time, same place. And this has been Between Two Fans. The two fans are off to go and watch some footy. Which one are you primarily gonna focus on?
There's only one game, Stevie. There's only one
Bayern
game.
Arsenal.
No, you had me. I thought you were being serious. No. Footballers know that. Yeah, that's the best game in the world right now. But let's not miss any more. But everyone, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and share with all your Arsenal mates, because I think they might be crying in the morning.
Correct. Hopefully they are. Cool, everybody. We'll see you next week. Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Between Two Fans. And it is another episode where we get to basically abuse my co-host Dan Scholes for the wild season that Liverpool is currently having. And every single time we jump back on this podcast, it just gets progressively worse. But basically, what we're really here to do is just chat sport with a bit of a South African bias to it. We're going to be talking rugby, cricket, football, a little bit about the Masters last week, and a general sports catch-up with a little bit of humour, hopefully, a little bit of banter. Right, hello, everybody, and welcome to Premier Rugby on Premier Sports. It is Bulls versus Munster. There goes the whistle, and we do have kickoff over in Pretoria, possibly the game of the weekend, and it will be the Bulls in blue, Munster in sort of blue and red. I'm not quite sure. I think the red probably would have been a bit better from a kick clash point of view. Bit of a stray decision, but anyway, early clearance there from Jack Crowley, and we do have play underway. Sorry, a little bit rushed at the moment. We're just sorting out the everything after that Lions game. I'm a very happy Lions fan, having watched my boys finish the Leinster, what people will call the Leinster B team. I don't care what you're going to call them. We still beat Leinster. 44 points to 12. So that's pretty good. A very shuffled life. And that's an early mistake from the Bulls. And winning it have Munster at the line-out. And Archie Slayman already saying hello to the Loftus faithful with that win at the line-out. So he could be a bit of a thorn in the side of the Bulls today. Kick ahead and a test for Currie, who does well. All right, low. Now we'll go to the teams in just a bit. And a big kick there. I think we'll see a lot of kicking early on. Yeah, both teams sort of settle into things. And Conor Murray into the side. Yeah, he's just waiting for a couple of options. Good defense this year from Bulls. Nice physicality on display, yeah, against the current reigning champions. Conor Murray is going to go back to Jack Crowley. Jack Crowley will go to the boot and lift it high in the air. This will be a tester for Sebastian de Klerk. Then he comes off a Munster player. Will be a Bulls line-out. A good kick there from Jack Crowley. I think it's might have been a judge just going straight to touch, actually, which means it'll be all the way back inside the Munster territory. No, so it was fine there. So it wasn't out in the full. So it'll be allowed just inside the Bulls half. They're really having a bit of a chatter on Munster. I think he has an injury at the moment. We'll just try and find exactly who that is. Yeah, a bit of running repairs, yeah, which will allow me some time to go through the lines. We'll start with the Bulls. In the front row, it is Chaos Dinnekamp, Jan Kobler, and Wilco Low. Ruan Vermaak, JF van Heerden completing that tight five. Cameron Honeycomb in the number 6 jersey today, next to Reinhard Ludwig and his captain, Ulrich Low. In Brussels, Pierre Pons, Jan Goosen, a backfield of Currie, Arends, Sebastian de Klerk, and Willie Leroux. In the centres, the ever-consistent David Creel next to the prodigious young Kanan Moody. Off the bench, it will be Aka van der Merwe, Sampiero Matanzima, Mornay Smith, Janko Swanepoel, Impilo Gamedi, Zach Berger, Chris Smith, and Devin Williams. It is an orthodox 5-3 split with some nice impact players available to them. If you look at Munster in the front row, Jamie Laumann, Nice Scannell, and Stephen Archer, backed up by Archie Snyman, who makes his return to Loftus in a Munster shirt. He's got Ty Byrne next to him. He's captain for the day. Peter O'Mahony, Alex Kendall, and Jack O'Donoghue completing what is a very, very impressive pack. Conor Murray will partner Jack Crowley, Jack Daly, Alex Dankerville, Anton Frisch, Calvin Nash, Simon Zebo, completing that back line. A very strong Munster starting lineup. And off the bench, they've got the likes of Ewan Clark, Josh Wishley, Ollie Jaeger, Thomas Ahern, Gavin Coombs, Craig Casey, Joey Carberry, and John Hodnett. They don't get much stronger, do Munster. Very, very impressive outfit that they have named for today. Jan Goosen now back in the pocket, goes to the butcher, a couple of chases there. And it bounces off Sebastian de Klerk, and I think it's gone backwards. So Bulls will retain unless he is out. He is out indeed. But we've got a poll running saying, who were you supporting? Let me know down in the comments below who you are supporting. And that's a very good lineup being competed there for the Bulls. They've won back, and Wilco Low, all people have come away with it. Now to Clark in the midfield there. Good work from him. Now on the right-hand side there, a bit of space for Reinhard Ludwig. Good work this from the Bulls. Now Ulrich Low in the midfield. Good work by Chaos Dinnekamp, and ball available for Mbosa Pierre. Quick ball, yeah. It's a bit of a knock on there coming from Sebastian de Klerk, so it will be a scrum here. No, Munster have actually counteracted and managed to win things back for themselves. Now good hands from Munster. Turnover boy here. Good tackle from Currie Arends on Jamie Laumann. But Munster with some good momentum here. But Bulls with a penalty. Who's that over the ball? It is Cameron Honeycomb in the number 6 jersey. Looks like they're taking it quickly, by the way, out the Bulls. And then they've knocked it forwards. So Jake White must be absolutely fuming watching that. Crowley. Short ball. Good carry there for Jack O'Donoghue. Throwing it back to Crowley. Not too many options. Go to Simon Zebo. Long pass out wide. Bit of space here for Munster. Good tackle coming from Kanan Moody on his opposite number. Anton Frisch, who's been linked with was linked with a move to France. The French national team after him at the moment. And a penalty now for Munster. Well, very good pace of play early on here. Hopefully that can be sustained. Right, so Jack Crowley will now kick towards touch here. Got some good line options in the likes of Ty Byrne, Archie Snyman, and Peter O'Mahony do Munster. So it'll be a difficult lineup to contend with. Right, and after the 22, they go. It will be Niall Scannell who'll feed the line out. Murray popping it up to Alex Dankerville, and the ball's come loose, and Wilco Low dives on it. And now not too many options. Jan Goossens look to try and turn. Is that not forward? Sideways is the call from Jack Currie. Now to Simon Zebo. He spins away from one. Eventually brought down. Sebastian de Klerk trying to get, sorry, it's David Creel trying to get his hands on the ball. Now a bit of space on the left-hand side. Currie skip pass to Anton Frisch. Comes inside, bounce over Kane and Moody into Sebastian de Klerk. I think he's done very well there. No, ball is available for Conor Murray. Up to Stephen Archer. Ball comes loose, and forward was the call. We're going to scrum here. But as I said, very, very nice pace of play. I'm enjoying the intensity of this game. Long may it continue. And this is going to be an interesting one. The first scrum of the game coming up. Just so chuffed that the flipping Lions got a victory. It made hard work of it at times, which is funny when you look at how big the margin of victory was. But there was some very, very sloppy play at times. But we got the bonus point, got the win. That's the main thing. And Cameron Honeycomb receiving some treatment. They won't want to lose him. One of their best players so far this season. Right, now the ball's at the back of that scrum. So the scrum and Currie Arendse up towards the halfway line. Goossens going short to Cameron Honeycomb. And Sebastian de Klerk, it's a big hit on him. The Bulls crowd asking for something a bit more there. Bit of space down that left-hand side. Very, very well done. Very, very well done. Very, very perfect kick really from him. Good to see Arceus naming back on a rugby field in domestic rugby, especially if you're a Munster fan, because he just hasn't been able to play. One stage, had played more minutes for the Springboks last year's season than he had for his entire Munster career over like three years. So not been a good time for him over there. He's making the switch to Leinster for next season. And unfortunately, I've got a very bad feeling that he's actually going to play quite a lot of rugby there. But all they can do is appreciate what they've got now. It's good to take that from Currie Arendse. And that's not a great pass, and it'll be a turnover ball here. So I'm just trying to sort out the stream, and we're going to be all good. All right, Munster now on the front foot. Good tag pass there. Anton Frisch now carrying the midfield. Not too much options. So Jack Crowley goes to the butcher. Vililou's coming onto it. Vililou takes it very, very well. And it's a knock on there. Sebastian de Klerk comes away with it, runs to Conor Murray. Ball available for Ambrose Pierre, goes to Jan Goosen, Goosen to Willie Leroux. Ball over the top from Willie Leroux to Cameron Harnekom. It's Ulrich Low, good hands, and Reinhard Ludwig can't hold on. So I have the option here. Knock on or the line, I reckon. If I'm Munster, I'll probably take the scrum. Baggy saying, Bulls look very average, can't see them getting 4 tries today versus Munster. And Ocker earlier saying, Bulls all the way, go Bulls. Well, let me know who you're supporting. We've got a poll running in the comments, so go let us know who you are backing, what your chat is. Another break and play, yeah. It's not been hard to get a bit of a flow of the game here. It's been 15 minutes. We've only played 10, so not been great. Looks like a pretty good contingent of Munster fans. They've got a reputation of having very good travelling support. So good to see that it's not changed. And going over there for the penalty there for Blue blocking. Good work that at the line out here. So Munster on the front foot. Now Munster inside the 22. Good work here. Popping out from Conor Murray. Gets away to Peter Marnie. Munster on the front foot here. Bulls under a lot of pressure, but they've turned the ball over. Now looking for the counter attack. Currie Lawrence steps inside. Currie Lawrence looking for some space. Brought down just after outside the 22. Good work there from the Bulls. Now a bit of pressure on Cameron Harnekom. Gerard Steenekamp comes to clean up. Ball available for Ambrose Papier. Ulrich Low. Long pass from Willie Leroux. To Johan Goosen. Johan Goosen with a bit of space. Trying to straighten. Gets past one. Very good this from Johan Goosen. Archas Neyman struggling to keep up with the pace of play here. Kicking behind, and Simon Zebo's come across and very, very well dive on it. They're under a bit of pressure. Ball's come loose here. Hey, go back to the action. Big counter ruck this from the Bulls, but a knock-on in the process, and it'll be a scrum inside the 22. What a piece of play that was from the Bulls. Much, much better. Good counter-attack. And this is, there's a bit of a mismatch here. Steps inside of Anton Frisch, which is pretty poor, and then he's always going to have the pace on Archas Neyman, isn't he? It's a great piece of intervention there from Simon Zebo to get across and make that little jab on the ball. Then not the best offload, and good counter from the Bulls initially, but a knock-on in the process. And we'll have a scrum for Munster inside their own 22. Conor Murray looking to beat the scrum. Crowley goes to the boot for the clearance, and that's a phenomenal clearance. That's brilliant. That's back inside Bulls territory. You can see him barking out instructions. It's amazing to see how he's grown into his role as Jack Currie. Now the #1 pick for Ireland. Still young in his international career, but I tell you what, he looks so seasoned. A youngster as well, just 24 years of age, Jack Currie. Was playing a lot at centre. They made that shift to fly half. Played there in the URC final. A bit of a wrap on here to Currie. Deciding to straighten, there goes Sebastian de Klerk, gets past one, eventually brought down inside Munster territory. Embrose Pierre decides to work their way back down the right side, flat from Currie, but Albert Lowe's lined up and hammered back by Archie Snyman. And it's turned over from Ty Byrne as well. Currie looking at his options, goes to the left hand side, finds Jeremy Lauman. It's a big tackle on him as well. Good physicality from both teams. Now Murray Crowley. Frisch. Pass out wide, not the best pass, and he has to dive onto the ball, does Calvin Nash. Inside it goes to Simon Zebo, who's caught on the ball. Conor Murray. Crowley, drawing pass, but it's a poor pass in behind, and it's been left behind once again by Alex Nankivell. Eventually the referee's going to go. It's a penalty for offside against the Bulls. But scrappy all of a sudden the last few minutes. We're going to take the points here, Munster. I don't think it'll be Jack Crowley. I don't know if he's quite got the distance on this. Yeah, it's going to be Conor Murray's going to have a go here. The scrub of stocks of Ireland, but also Munster are ridiculous when you think that you've got Conor Murray as well as Craig Casey. Big, I mean, such good players, but both so different. You know, Conor Murray, not quite as sort of attacking nature, but very good at sort of game management, moves the ball around well. He's given that a thump. He's going to have plenty of distance on that. Has he got the directions? Off the bar. And it falls down to Ambrose Pierre. Bit of a slip from him. Gets away from Calvin Nash. Still going to Ambrose Pierre. Looking for options. Almost going. And the doors are really eventually closed on him by Niall Scanlon, who's actually turned the ball over just out of 22. And then intercept from Sebastian de Klerk. His teams can't hold onto the ball. And Ambrose Pierre comes. So Bulls with a possession. And they go to Ruan from Mark, who goes very direct. Ty Byrne wanting to get over that ball, though. Now Ambrose Pierre going to the boot. Chased after that. I think it's Sebastian de Klerk. Zebo brought down by de Klerk up to the halfway line. Available for Conor Murray. He goes on the left-hand side with a bit of space. Rand Ludwig's been turned. An inside ball. Bit of a hot potato rugby at the moment. And Peter O'Mahony will eventually take contact. Runs into Gerard Steenekamp. Now on the right-hand side. Crowley looking for options. Goes in behind to Simon Zebo. Frisch now to Nash. And they've picked him up. Have Currie Lawrence and Katie Moody looking to bundle him out, but won't manage it. Back inside from Conor Murray. Little chip over the top from Crowley. Seeing a bit of space. So Vili LaRue's been turned here. It's a great kick from Jack Crowley. That is absolutely inch perfect. Very good tactical battle this. And now Bulls inside their own 22. Defensive line. Jan Cropper does a very good line throw. Goes to the top. And he's thrown it straight into the hands of Niall Scannell. So all of a sudden, Munster 5 meters out. Lauman just short. Just short here once again. It's Archer this time. Still scoreless after almost 20 minutes here, but a massive opportunity for Munster. Advantage being played as well. And Jack Crowley with the wraparound. Nash and Zebo gets it over, and there it is. The first try of the day, courtesy of Jack Daly. The Bulls were scrambling, penalty advantage. Munster have had the momentum, and now they have the lead. And the Bulls fans not particularly happy, as you can imagine, to be fair. That's just pressure, really. Right, Currie now, the conversion. His first shot of goal. On the 20 mark, we can try and make it 7 points to 0. Right up against the touchline, like literally on the touchline. He's watching it, he's watching it. Looks pretty good, actually. And he's nailed that. What a kick that is from Jack Crowley. Goodness me. That's a nice moment in the game for him. Right, so Bulls go down 7 points in the first half. Deep restart that into the hands of Conor Murray. He's got plenty of time to line up his clearance. Big tackle coming on him, but he does manage to get the kick away. And it's a pretty good kick as well, up towards the 10-meter line. But he would have felt that. Right, so no penalty. Some people thought it was a late hit, but not the case. Good penalty and good for line that from the Bulls. And Cameron Harnicum carries in the midfield. Bulls looking to try and respond here. Some of the comments over here. Baggy saying no European team has won at the Bulls' home yet. David saying nice for Munster, Lecker, and great start. Jasper said go Bulls, come back, please score a try. Mariana Moody now bringing in Billy LaRue. Great offload, but it's been intercepted. Very, very well done that. So turnover ball once again here for Munster. Halfway through the first half. Right, Conor Murray. That signature boss kick from him. And Sebastian de Klerk now looking to run it back. Runs into the referee. But still through the defense. Good carry from him. He's been pretty involved early on here. Eventually manages to present the ball for Ambrose Papier. Goes to Jan Goos. Not too much on Jan Goos. Spotting a bit of space on that right-hand side. Simon Zewa's been turned. And the ball bounce to the ball is completely done in there. It's a great kick from Jan Goosen. You talk about why rugby's played with a oval ball, and it's for this exact reason. Simon Zebo, it's bounced just over him, and then it's bounced so quickly to the right-hand side they didn't stand a chance of keeping it in. And they're almost over. I think knocked on here from the Bulls. A lot of pressure being put on Jack Day, the try scorer there. So it'll be a Bulls 5-meter scrum. Top of the table clash almost. It's 3 versus 4. 47 points with Munster, 46 with Bulls as it stands. They'll go ahead of the Bulls. You can see their Lions can now up in 8th place. Good to see Benetton with the victory as well. Moving up into 5th for the time being. Storm is still yet to play. But Lions 4 points clear of that of Ospreys, who are playing later. So it could hopefully remain that. But then 5 points clear of Edinburgh and Connacht, who we do expect to get victories. Bit of break and play yet. 5 tackles missed so far from Munster from 21. Bulls missing just 2 from 27. But it is the Bulls who trail after 23 minutes. They do have an attacking scrum, full width of the field to work with down the left-hand side here. So perfect opportunity for them. If you had to put down a mark of exactly where you wanted to scrum, this is probably pretty much where you'd like one. Reset at the scrum. Not much stability at the moment. Looks a bit better. And Ibrosipia does feed. Nobody looking to try and Cameron Honeycomb comes away with it. And Ibrosipia goes to Johan Kobbelaar. Strong carry from him. Ball's 2 meters out now. Volker Low into his debut season here at the Bulls. Now Kobbelaar just short. Good carry from him. Bulls on the front foot here. Ibrosipia goes to Ulrich Low. Gets past 1, gets past 2, and he's got grounding. That's great physicality from Ulrich Low. The Bulls respond. Very, very well done. It's the captain, Ulrich Low, who goes over. It's a great carry from him. Had lots to do when he received the ball, so it was never going to be, was no guarantee. But showed tremendous strength and physicality. Took about 2 or 3 defenders over the line with them as well. Yeah, slightly lazy running there for Mark meant that it took a while for Jack O'Donoghue to get there and add his support. Simon Zebo and I think it's Alex Nankerville who can't keep him up. Eventually Jack O'Donoghue joining, but far too late. And Coulson raises the flags and levels the score. 7 points apiece. 27 minutes into this first half. And a lot of Bull supporters very chuffed with that. Right, restart here from Jack Crowley down the right-hand side. Good take that from Alred Low. Almost losing the ball in contact, but managing to do well to hold on. Penalty for Bulls. Munster pinged for blocking. That's a phenomenal kick from Johan Clausen. I think he's put them 5 meters out here, by the way. That is incredible. That might be one of the best kicks for touch I've ever seen. Yeah, you can see they're clearly blocking. It's such a fine line, isn't it, when you're retreating, trying to block your jumper so that he's got a clean go at it. Can't be too obvious, though, unfortunately. But to Bulls on the 5 meters, that's perfect from Johan Clausen. Opportunity now for the Bulls to really build some momentum. If they score a try here, can really ping Munster back. And it's a bit of a messy line, but it does come back towards, I think it's JF van Heerden. So Bulls the possession 5 meters out. Varsity Pierre going to Cameron Hanekom. Solid tackle on him. Penalty advantage here for the Bulls. Bit of free roll of the dice. Gerard Stennekamp brought down by Peter Omani and Archie Snyman. Pierre now and takes a hit off one of the backs of one of the players, then gets past Jan Hus, and they'll go back for the penalty, and I'm sure they'll just knock it into touch. And they're going to take the points here. I think it's the right decision from the Bulls. They're building momentum. Don't turn down points here. It's kind of a test match type of situation as you're playing against a quality Munster side. First half here, it's been very, very even. Haven't had too much momentum. So when you've got a little bit and you've got an opportunity here, take the points, take the lead, and build in the last 10 minutes. Try and see if you can maybe get a late try, another penalty, take a lead into half time. Yeah, no issue from Johan Clausen. The flags are raised, and Bulls take a lead, 10 points to 7. Jack Crowley now with the restart. Bit shorter, and he's completely missed out there, Jeff and Hearden, but it's come away to Ulrich Lowe. He's done very, very well there as the captain. And around Cobbler now, carrying it up. And Bros up here. Lifts it high, and Hood answer will give chase. And it comes backwards, and then thrown back into the midfield, and Archie Snyman comes away with it. And he breaks a bit of a tackle. He's doing very well. They're looking for the offload, and he gets it away. So good, isn't he? Conor Murray now. Jack Crowley stepping away from Cameron Moody. Brought down by Cameron Hanekom. Good work that from the fly half. Now Zebo. Nankerveld, it's a nice carry from him. Good momentum this from Munster. Inside ball to Ty Byrne. But well read there. I think it was by Ulrich Lowe. Flat from Crowley. Oh, the offload from Snyman. And down the middle, almost goes Calvin Nash. The soft skills here from Munster really coming through. And Jeremy Lauman's gone straight through. And the pop's gone into Reinhard Ludwig, who's knocked it back. Then dived on and I think knocked it on. Tell you what, that's some brilliant offloading and a couple of little passes over there. So all of a sudden, looking at the log there, Bulls up will be up to 49 points, opposed to Munster, who overtake them with a victory today. And so now Scannell, yeah, I think he's getting a bit of treatment. Couple of comments over here. So Orchid saying Bull scoreboard pressure. Baggy saying need to bonus point win. Bulls 2 should be going for tries, not penalties. Leicester will beat Stormers next weekend, reckons Baggy. Well, it helped the Lions if they could. If the Lions were to pull a victory against Munster, Stormers were to lose, Lions could go ahead of them, depending on what happens later. Lions currently tied with Ulster and Stormers on points. Now Conor Murray, that's very good work. And almost an intercept there from Currie Lawrence. Backwards is the call, so no penalty advantage or anything, but it has come back to Munster. 7 minutes left on the clock here. Conor Murray, good ball inside to Ty Birds, but the offload away to Jack Crowley. Very good offload game here from Munster. Conor Murray going himself, and they're trying to hold him up here. Desperately trying to get his knees to the ground. Does manage to do that, does Crowley. Now pops up to Alred Lowe. Up here now. Joe from the knock, and he will find touch. Under a lot of pressure here on the Bulls, but so far it's been very, very good work here from Munster, who pitched up so far. Again, I'm seeing some very good soft skills. Arcus Neyman involved quite a bit with a couple of offloads. He's so good, isn't he? Just finds a way of finding the players. Hello, bud. I hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Baggy saying, I'd rather Bulls finish second or third than Stormers help. Fair enough. And once again, breaking play. Jack O'Donoghue down receiving a bit of treatment here. They've got a very capable replacement if he does go off in Gavin Coombs on the bench. Bulls very much focusing on the URC at the moment, so very important that they win this. They want to try and see if there's any chance they get anywhere near Leinster and try and get at least a home semi-final. Reckon that's their biggest key to trying to go far in this competition. Crowley, that's a great line being run. Just short, well, into the 22, but just pulled on was Alex Kendall. And inside, well, Conor Murray, that's read so well by Currie Lawrence, but then not forward. Knock on advantage for Munster. Great offload. Now Arceus Neyman. Hands off Jay Van Heerden. Bounces off run from Mark. Still goes Arceus Neyman. We've seen that a lot at Loftus, but traditionally in a Bulls jersey. Now offload to Crowley. That's a really good line being run as well. Munster really starting to turn the heat up now with 5 minutes to go in the first half. Once again, Currie Lawrence up. It's very good handling. Deft handling. Alex Kendall now. Inside goes Nash. He gives it away to Conor Murray, but it falls to Villaroo actually. And then Wilco Lowe, not expecting it, knocks it on. And they're still playing though, Munster though. Underneath the tackle goes Alex Nankivell. Back he goes. The Bulls have almost stopped playing. Just short now on Munster. Conor Murray goes to the left-hand side, goes to Jeremy Lauman. Murray popping it up. Just short as Jack O'Donoghue. Lochman there again. Just short here, Munster. Just short. And try is scored. I don't think it is Arceus Neyman. I think he was involved. No, it is Arceus Neyman. Well, that's going to be heartbreaking for the Bulls. Doesn't celebrate, but big moment there for Munster. $12 points to 10. Arceus Neyman going over. Jack Crowley now to add the extras. And I expected no issues there from Jack Crowley. Right, 14 points to 10. Munster retake the lead. A few minutes left in this first half. And he just pops it up. And look at the strength from Arceus Neyman to get over and score. You're not stopping him from that kind of range. I don't know too well, and now the Bulls do as well. It's a great take out the air there. I think it's Peter O'Mani. It is indeed. The veteran. Will he be on a plane to South Africa with Ireland? We'll have to wait and see. Crowley taking a bit of a while to go to the boot. He might have overcooked that, you know. That's going to land just inside, but not back towards Munster. But Carmen Honeycomb's done very well. And he pops it up to Viliru. Viliru goes to Goosen. Goosen sees a bit of space down that right-hand side. I think he's overcooked this, though. He has indeed. Out in the full, and Munster will have a line inside Bulls territory. Ball over the top. It's not a great line. Johan Kovalev's come away with it. Jack Crowley making the tackle, but Bulls have turned possession over in the last minute of the first half. Albert Lowe, a bit of a stutter, and then Currie strong. Brosipierre goes to Clark. Now Caden Moody, first opportunity with the ball in hand. Pop inside Viliru to Kurt Lawrence. Arceus Neyman wraps him up. Brosipierre now. Flat from Goosen to Herstinica. Pops it up to Albert Lowe. Albert Lowe puts his head down. Bounced off Nankivell. Has another go. Carrying strong so far is the Bulls captain. And Rose piercing a bit of space. Gets the offload away. Now to Jeff and Heerden, who's running towards the gap. Runs into Anton Frisch. And it's a great read there from Calvin Nash. So late turnover here for Munster. 5 seconds left at the half. And I think there's a penalty here, I think, for the Bulls. But there's a head clash here. So we might actually have a look at potential foul play. Sebastian de Klerk started down and not looking very happy at all. Let's see what happens here, Sebastian de Klerk. Nah, it's pretty accidental. I mean, the crowd's baying for blood, but I mean, Shane Daly's literally caught the ball. So I mean, Calvin Nash has gone to catch the ball, and if anything, actually, he could be in trouble, given that Calvin Nash actually had the ball. He's going to go for an HIA here, is Sebastian de Klerk. Devin Williams would come on. It's a nice place to have. It is a Munster penalty. So late penalty, a lot of opportunities, lost opportunity for them to score some points. Nothing there. Just a rugby incident there, that head clash. Right, so they're going to take the points here on Munster, try and build a 7-point lead going into half-time. Jack Crowley is lining up the kick. Be the final act of the first half, unless, of course, he were to miss it and Bulls wanted to keep the ball going. But I'd be very surprised if they want to do that. Right, big kick here for Jack Crowley. Struck it pretty well, looking pretty good as well. He will raise the flags. Right, half-time score will be 10 points to 14. Munster having a very good first half. We're still in it and have looked good at stages, but Munster very much the dominant side in that half. We will have a bit of a break. We'll return very shortly. In the meantime, you're going to catch up. You can catch up with the podcast that I do every week with Mr. Daniel Scholz called Between Two Fans. Comes out every Wednesday. And it's always a good fun to do it. So go check it out. And yeah, we can go watch a bit of it in the meantime. See you in a bit. Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Between Two Fans. And it is another episode where we get to basically abuse my co-host Dan Scholes for the wild season that Liverpool is currently having, and every single time we jump back on this podcast, it just gets progressively worse. But basically, what we're really here to do is just chat sport with a bit of a South African bias to it. We're going to be talking rugby, cricket, football, a little bit about the Masters last week and a general sports catch-up with a little bit of humour, hopefully, a little bit of banter throwing it around there. It is myself, Stevie P, and Mr. Dan Scholes. And Mr. Dan Scholes, sounds like a bit of a tough week going on over there. Are you all right? Are you okay?
Yeah, a deep breath, Stevie. One step at a time. It's I'm at an all-time low right now. I think this cyclops in the middle of my forehead is just the beginning of my issues when it comes to, not even getting to watch the Stormers this weekend. Then just think about Liverpool's last week. Once you forget, Stevie, and I don't even want to get started. On the predictions and my recent.
Well, I think you might as well compound your misery. Like, whilst not to kick a man while he's down, but to kick a man while he's down. Should we go through them?
Let's do exactly that. Get it over and done with. So, yeah, if you're new around here, this is a segment that Stevie and I do, where essentially we each make predictions, and Stevie gets it right and I get it wrong. But
the stats don't lie.
We're working. I have a lot to blame, and I don't think I can be lower than this moment. So you have to hit rock bottom to turn things around, and I think that's what might have just happened this last week. But getting into it, our first match was Northampton versus the Bulls. At the time of recording, Stevie, we did not know that the likes of Currie, Willie LaRue, Canan Moody weren't going to be flying over to England on all, not one of the 8 flights were carrying the Springboks. So the Bulls suffering a 59-22 defeat there to the Premiership leaders. Stevie, your prediction was Saints by 5. Mine was Saints by 2. I say you've just hugged me there at the bottom. I recall going first, and essentially anything more than 2 was a win for you. Nonetheless, congratulations. Game 2 was the Challenge Cup, Edinburgh versus Sharks. Sharks hosting them in Durban and playing a really good game. I covered that on live on Forever Sports, and they were clear ahead by must have been 20 points or so in the last 8 minutes, only for them to let in 2 more tries with the end score being 30 points to 36. Stevie, I thought I had this one in the bag with Sharks by 10, but your Sharks by 7 has just pipped me. So that's yours again. So it's 2-0, and 2 out of the 3 already gives you the win. But if that's not enough, we bet it on the Masters. And I'd like to give us a little clap, Scotty Scheffler. I mean, us and the whole world. It doesn't take a genius.
Can't take too much credit, pretend we know too much what's going on. It's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, about as safe as they come. But your picks of John Rahm and Neiman were closer to the top than my picks of
not
Koepka
great picks.
and Hovland. I mean, Rahm and Koepka tied for 45th place at 9 over. Neiman tied for 22nd at 4 over. Good performance, and a good shout from you, to be fair. He had a decent knock around there. And my boy Victor Hovland, absolutely blowing the lights out and not making the cut at 8 over after 2 days. I'm not sure if you saw the clip, but he was pretty much just playing putt-putt by the end of it.
Yeah,
just
that last green you can see he was over it, which is very uncharacteristic for him.
Very uncharacteristic. That means he's probably going to win this weekend. I love my Norwegian boy, Victor. But a great Masters. Pity Scheffler wasn't driven all the way to the end there. I thought Homer might just continue sinking a couple more putts. I thought Bryson was going to stay in the mix, holing out on the last hole of day 3 as well to really take a bit of momentum. But I mean, Scotty Scheffler, he is just so cool, calm, and collected, and just looks like golf is a real hobby to him.
Yeah, look, I mean, they're saying this is the best. It's a Tiger run. It's if you look at some of the best runs in golf, this is up there with some of the best that Tiger's had. It's up there with what we saw from Rory McIlroy in the beginning of his career. So there's no more doubts. I don't think there ever were, but I mean, he's just a class above the rest at the moment. I really enjoyed Aberg. I mean, debut Masters to come 4 shots off from winning from the lead is an
not debut Masters. I mean, debut major as well.
Yeah.
Insane.
So to be able to do that as well was very cool from him. Tommy Fleetwood has, if you look at his last few majors appearances, lots of top 10s, lots of top 5s. So, and something I'm so desperate for him to win a major. So maybe he can just sneak one there. This year.
Or for me, after Hovland, the most likable guy on tour. I mean, just what is there to hate about him? And he wasn't actually with his caddy. I'm not sure if you saw, but his caddy stayed at home, so he had the local professional at the Augusta Country Club, Augusta National, to help him out and just join for the week. Apparently, they'd met before, and I think they figured out that the caddy would have racked in a sweet $80,000 or something to that.
No, not terrible for 4 days of work, eh?
Not terrible at all. Got to take your chances, as they say. But Stevie, big rugby weekend, quarterfinals of the Investec Champions Cup is finished. Most notable shock was the Harlequins beating Bordeaux away from home in just the most electric atmosphere. French rugby is just in a bit of a different league when it comes to the atmosphere that they generate at their stadiums. Other results were Leinster beating back-to-back champs and getting the revenge against La Rochelle 40 points to 13, to lose with a blowout win against Exeter 64 points to 26, and Northampton, again, as we mentioned, beating a B team, Bulls 59 points to 22. Stevie, let's start with that Harlequins game. I mean, no one really predicted that one.
Yeah, and I was absolutely mental. I was in a pub at the time and catching up with an old mate. So it was kind of like keeping an eye on it. And every single time you looked up, it was just like a different score, and it was just Harlequins ahead, Bordeaux ahead, Harlequins ahead, Bordeaux ahead. It was like the most mental game to watch. And this Harlequins side, I mean, I suppose the fact that the gestures, the logo is just so appropriate that you just don't know what to expect from them. Some days they're one of those teams I like to describe as, I think on their day, lots of teams can beat them, and on their day they can beat anybody. They've got some Mavericks in that team. Good to see Andre Estes playing good rugby. Tyron Green, who's somebody I think a lot of people have forgotten about.
Yeah.
And he had another terrific game, so he's putting himself up there. There's quite a few staffers in that Harlequin side.
Sure,
so it's cool to see them.
Those Tyron Green comments from, I think it was last week after his man of the match performance. The reporter asked Tyron, so what is your allegiance? England or South Africa? And he says, South Africa for now. Yeah. Which I don't like. A lot of people get upset about it. I don't really mind that sort of attitude. I mean, I think, everybody wants to play for South Africa, but at the end of the day, international rugby is international rugby. And just like I've got no resentment against any of the Scottish guys, if he's putting in performances week in, week out, and, all indications are he's not even on the radar, and Steve Borthwick phones you and says, listen, you could be my starting fullback at the World Cup in 2 years' time. Yeah.
Are you really going to turn that down?
No, I think the opportunity to play international rugby overrides, you know, any kind of allegiance to South Africa, because you know you only really have one career. You
Yeah.
might be around waiting. It's not exactly like Tyron Green's got Rusty Russ's number and going to be like, listen, are you gonna pick me
Yeah.
or what's the vibe? You know.
And he's not saying no to the box. You know, he's not getting a call up and saying, no, actually, I'd rather play for England. You
Yeah,
know,
but I think with that comment, he's teased it a little bit for now.
well,
He's
I
teased
think,
it.
well, but I actually, I enjoy that as well. I think it's, you know, listen, I'm out here playing my rugby, but I'm not going to hang around, you know. So, you know, if I'm on your radar, then let me know I'm on your radar, because if you don't, then I'm going to look elsewhere. So I don't massively mind the comment. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
have a bit of a meltdown about it. I think South Africans in particular just never gotten their heads around South Africans playing for other teams, which for me is just a weird thing to get upset about. I mean, you see it so often in so many different sports and stuff like that. And the world's become such a small place. I don't really have much of an issue with it. I certainly don't resent any of the Scottish players, for example, and stuff like that. I don't sit there looking at Paul Willemse going, you know, he's a traitor because he plays for France. You know, if people make decisions and they go over there and they get the opportunities, then great.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a different story, I think, if we weren't good, right?
Yes, yes.
If we were shite, then we would be saying the exact opposite and saying, you know, how dare they, you know, come play at home, this, that, and the rest of it.
But then
Like,
chances are, if we were
Ireland,
bad, then they would be choosing not to play for us. You know, they'd be actively choosing not to
well, I
represent
think that's
us.
the point, right? We would
Yeah.
need them more, whereas now it's a case of not made the selection criteria. Alas, we digress. But what a game that was! I mean, Luka missing a kick with a couple minutes to go, but it's just back to back. I mean, most of these games, the amount of points scored, just
Yeah.
ridiculous. Everyone kind of forgetting how to defend for a second. But geez, what a spectacle of rugby it was!
Yeah, once again, home advantage proving key. I mean, Bordeaux being the only one that went down just by 1 point. Apart from that, 3 big wins across the other quarterfinals and all home ground advantage. Should we talk about the Bulls and the disrespect to the Champions Cup, and you know, showing why the Champions Cup will never work and should never invite South African teams and everything wrong with the competition? And apparently now, you know, it's all just, you know, means nothing because, you know, the Bulls dared to send some non-Springboks over to Northampton. It's been a big talking point. Scotty, where are you sitting with this whole sort of debacle? You know, are you on Jake's White's side? Do you think this shows you why this competition is not sustainable? What's the chat?
It's definitely sustainable. I think. I mean, I listened to Courtney Laws on the Rugby Pod this morning, and he even reckons that in the build up, he reckons that there weren't 8 flights. He reckons that South Africa Rugby was trying to throw off the Saints, and you know, the whole flights thing was just completely blown out of proportion, and we were doing that to throw off Saints. So it's just this underlying narrative, I think, with South African rugby, that we're up to no good all the time, and that there's always a plan that's undercover, and you kind of get like a little bit of insight. We do things a little bit weirdly, and that stemmed from kind of this Rusty era, right? Even just down to the way that, you know, we cover up cameras and we practice indoors and you know, use video games and stuff like that. Just like use Rusty as a water boy. It's these different tactics, and now the club rugby world is exposed to this. South Africa as well. Do I think the Bulls should have sent a string side? I think that's up to Jake White to decide. He chose not to. I would have loved them to, because I think that would have made for an unbelievable game. And I'm incredibly disappointed that they didn't, because they were South Africa's last real opportunity to go far in the competition, or not real opportunity, their only opportunity to go far in the competition. So I'm very disappointed that they didn't, especially because I think they have URC qualification in the bag, but they clearly want to make sure that they get that home semi-final, and a lot is riding on that fixture that they have now this weekend versus Munster, because essentially that's what they're competing for right now, is that home semi-final.
Right, and we're back for the second half. Welcome to Fair Rugby on Fair Sport. The Bulls trailing Munster 17 points to 10, and we've just started the second half. A big 40 minutes to come. Bulls, who are prioritising the URC, have to find a way to get a victory here. Ideally, you need to get a bonus point as well, but the main thing I think will be just to get that victory. But the way that Munster are playing, been very, very impressed with them. And they've come out firing, and they've had some very nice moments as well. RK Snyman on the scoreboard against the Bulls. It'll hurt a lot of Bulls fans, but from a South African perspective, it's just good to see him back on the field and playing some rugby. Conor Murray going back to Jack Crowley. Lifts it high in the air on that right-hand side. Willie Leroux is a right. No, in fact, it's Johan Kroos, and he allows it to bounce. Johan Krobler jumps up and takes it. Does it very well. Ambrose Pierre now sees a bit of space down that right-hand side, but he's overcooked it. He's put it into touch on the full. So, not the best moment that from Ambrose Pierre. Needs to do a bit better there, to be honest, as Ambrose Pierre. Right, so Munster line on the 10-metre line as the sun sets, or has set rather, in Pretoria. Arceus Snyman, long pass to Jack Crowley. Into the midfield goes Nankerville. And lost forward there, Tony Boya for the Bulls. Varnage over now for the knock. Now, Jan Person, flat, very flat. And Ruben Vermaak's made a bit of a break here. Ruben Vermaak still going. Eventually brought back, looking for options, decides to hold on to it. And then Peter O'Mahony's come in and taken out Ambrose Pierre, conceded the penalty. Probably knew what he was doing there, to be honest. Felt that he kind of had to make some sort of intervention, given the momentum of the Bulls. Yeah, very good carry that from Mark. Penalty early on momentum is a good start this from the Bulls. Right, Janet Crowell needs to get this right. Goes to the front, and it is Reinhard Ludwig who goes up and comes down with the ball. And then just short here are the Bulls. Advantage here as well. And they're just short once again of the Bulls, but they're on the front foot here. So important for them to score first, and nothing there. They'll go back for the penalty. Good momentum, though. Very, very good momentum. Right, so the penalty here for the Bulls. What can they conjure up here? Going for the line. Penalty advantage once again. Very direct here from the Bulls. Searching for an early score here. And they're over. It's currently answer. They remain patient, needed to try and find a hole, and it comes in the form of the small wing. But Bulls are over. Perfect start to the second half. Very, very good work, that. Just sucked in all the defense, and then bang. Good. Derek Creel just getting through the tackle, all floating to Ulrich Low. Managed to pop it up to Kurt Lawrence, so he then just has the easiest of diving over. Very, very nicely done. Now, big kick this from Johan Kursen to try and level the scores. Looking pretty good. Just brushes the side of, or goes ahead in the front of the poles. But good work that from Bulls. It's a nice response to them. I felt if Munster scored, they'd really have the momentum. But the Bulls have dragged themselves back into the game. Right, so 15 points to 17, 46 minutes played. Game very much still on. That's a great take there from JF on here, and was lifted very, very high in the air. Good work there from the young lock. He's been named in the SA Under-20 squad for the Rugby Championship, the Under-20 Rugby Championship, that is. Play on is the call there. Now Jan Goosen. Looking for options. Seeing a bit of space down the middle. Goes straight through. Now the long pass out to Sebastian de Klerk. He needs a bit of pace here. Simon Zebo's getting across. Great tackle that from Zebo. And they've thrown it back inside. I think it's come off Munster. It will be a Bulls line out. But that's a great, great, great bit of tracking back from Zebo. That's really good. And Bulls all of a sudden playing with a lot of confidence. So yeah, it will be a Bulls launcher. So ball in hand here has Johan Grobbelaar. Now going to the maul. Once is the call, yeah. Johan Grobbelaar goes himself. Solid carry from him. He's been very, very good today, has Johan Grobbelaar. Strong carry from Albert Lowe. Scored a try in the first half. Penalty advantage for the Bulls. JF van Heerden. Nice big carry from the youngster. Embrose Pierre, quick ball. And was kind of in two minds was Embrose Pierre. So not the best pass to Johan Goosen in the end. Right, looking at tap and go, I reckon, yeah, the Bulls. They do have quite a lot of different ideas when it comes to sort of the tap and goes. Just short. No, over. Is there grounding? There is grounding. Referee sees something, and the Bulls now really starting to build momentum. That's the second try of the half. Within 10 minutes, Johan Grobbelaar, and he deserves that. He's been absolutely fantastic. The Bulls now with their tails up and starting to make Munster feel a little bit more uncomfortable. Goes in behind a couple of players there. Rides the tackle of Crowley. Strong leg drive, and he drags Alex, I think it's Kendall and Nankivell over with them. Very, very good work. Bulls now back in the lead, 20 points to 17 with the kick to come. And no issues that from Johan Goosen. So, Bulls 22, Munster 17. Game very much on as we got half an hour left over at Loftus Versfeld. And that will be his final involvement for Jan Krobler. And I mean, this is the Bulls' depth. They've managed to bring on Akka van der Merwe for him. I mean, that's a huge sub to be able to make. Now deep restart on the right-hand side. Albert Low underneath it. Good take from him. Now Ambrose Pierre taking a bit of time. He's going to go to the box kick here. And good contest from Kurt Lawrence, but Calvin Nash does well to win it. So Munster ball. Available for Craig Casey, who's come onto the park and left behind by Nell Scannell. Backwards to the core, now being kicked through. Having to track back. His ball is going to go into touch, so it's pinned Munster all the way back to their own 22. Very, very good momentum. This now being built by Bulls and Munster under a lot of pressure. They have won a couple of subs. So it looks that Josh Wishley's on for Jeremy Lockman. Sebastian de Klerk is back on the park, by the way, and did come on after half-time. And here comes, I tell you what, in terms of impact players, he comes on, the man of the moment, and Pilo Gamedi onto the park. And what a season he's having. Goodness me. And there goes, I think that's Gavin Coombs that just come on. It is indeed. So talk about two brutal players that are coming on now. Cameron Honecorn being replaced by Pilo Gamedi there. So a couple of changes for both sides. They go to Tyke Byrne. Good line on that. And it is Gavin Coombs, the big man, who carries up first. Craig Casey taking his time, yeah. Goes to his boots. Left-footed is Craig Casey. So Cody Anderson underneath it. Good take. Oh, he's been absolutely manhandled there. Picked up and dumped by John Hodnett. Also on. But now to Jan Goosen. He sees a bit of space down the middle. And Jack Crowley is back with a bit of time. He look for touch. I think he will look for touch. And Peter Marnie, by the way, has been replaced. Won't find touch down the throat of Villiru. Villiru looking for options. He's going to go to the boot. Jan Goosen will chase. And it comes across to the Munster side, yeah. And Simon Ziba comes away with it, almost managing to spin away from a couple of defenders as well. Quick ball here from Craig Casey. Crowley. Options here. Tackle being made by the two ball centers. Craig Casey. Oh dear. And Jan Goosen, no, you got to stop this. Jan Goosen's down. Kanemu's going to go over. And I don't know if this is going to stand. I think this will stand, but the game should have been stopped because Jan Goosen is down and out. This is going to be an interesting decision here. Bulls have gone over. I think the game should have stopped immediately as soon as Johan Goosen made that collision. You can see he just went completely limp. I'm going to check the tackle here from Johan Goosen, which I think could also be an issue. And Craig Casey has just come on. I think this could be ruled out, you know. So looking out to see if he scored. No, I think he's out anyway, to be honest. But I think they're going to go back and look at the tackle, which could be a bit of a problem. So there's a foot and touch there. So Kane Moody hasn't scored this. I think that the tackle, or the tackle attempt from Jan Goosen on Craig Casey is going to be a bit more of an issue here. And Goosen, I think, is going to have to be replaced here. So just looking here. So the ball bobbles up here. So Craig Casey, dummies to go. Oh, yeah, Jan Goosen's gone, yeah. I mean, he's gone. I think he's in trouble, yeah. I don't think there's a lot of mitigation. I mean, he's a bit low, yes, Craig Casey, but I don't think there's a lot of mitigation. Yeah, I think Johan Goosen, first of all, I think he's going to be off for an HIA to begin with, so I think Christmas will come on at this stage. But I think that we could see, I think he's going to at least get a yellow card. This is going to be, for me, this is a red card. He's coming in, flying in, it's head-on-head contact. I don't think there's any mitigation there. He's so upright as Johan Goosen. We're going to see a card here, and I'll be very surprised if he escapes a red. Yeah, they're looking for mitigation. Yeah, I don't think they're going to find it. Yeah, red card. I don't think you can really complain. That's going to make life interesting for Bulls, to be honest. They're not going to have to play the final 25 minutes with a man down. Jan Goosen has gone to the bin for the rest of the game there. Loftus can't believe it. I don't think you can really complain. It's not a good tackle at all. He's so upright. Head-on-head contact, clear view. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, and the crowd not happy, but I don't think we can really argue that. I mean, we had a head clash earlier with Sebastian de Klerk and Calvin Nash, completely accidental, and neither player at fault. That, on the other hand, was Jan Goosen coming with a high level of force, very upright in the tackle, head-on-head collision, and the referee. Well, he's given the ref a decision to make, and the referee has made it. Right, so I imagine they'll replace a forward here with the Bulls and put on Chris Smith. Unless they'll just move Validaroo to fly off for the time being, and you can put Devin Williams at full back. We need somebody to cover the wing. Little chip over the top. That's worked out really, really well. Calvin Nash. And Simon Zebo's knocked it on. Would have been a great try. Turnover ball. It will be a scrum here. This might give the Bulls an opportunity to make a call on what they're going to do with their lack of fly half. And Craig Casey has been replaced here, by the way. He has to go for an HIA. I was about to say, when I saw him walking around, I was a bit confused. So Conor Murray back on the park here for Craig Casey, who's having an HIA. From a Bulls perspective, it doesn't look like they've made any changes here. So I think Validaroo will probably operate in that 10 channel. As I said, he walks into the picture and he's just off the side of the scrum here. So that very much will be the case. Big scrum needed up from the Bulls. The forwards are going to have to really stand out. They've got a 5-point lead, but 25 minutes to play it down is going to be a big ask. Howard Lowe comes out the back of it, runs into Conor Murray. It's just about Jack Crowley. They've driven him backwards. They've done very, very well there, have Jack Crowley and Conor Murray. Now in the pocket here is Validaroo. And both appear digging for it. They go back to LaRue. Right, and there goes Archie Snyman. So Ahern will come on. So Archie's time in the Loftus has come to an end. And hopefully the next time we see him at the stadium, he will be in a Springbok jersey. Very good game. Got his try to his name as well. And that's a nice reception for Snyman. And Aka van der Merwe does very well and comes away with that. Bulls turning that line over, but they've lost it in contact. And Ty Burn now is driven backwards. A great tackle. I think that's Wilco Lowe and those thunder thighs of his. It is Wilco Lowe. Look at the hard-working Ty getting through some We're off there. Now Conor Murray to the left-hand side to Jack Crowley. Straight to Shane Daly. Back inside to Simon Zebo. Zebo gets away from one. He's actually had a strong game today, Zebo. Now Calvin Nash has had a busy game as well. Quick ball here is what Conor Murray's asking for. He's not going to get it. It's eventually available. Crowley goes flat to Hearn. Zebo. In and out, in and out. Oh, straight through almost. That's a great timing tackle coming from David Creel. Bit of a last resort that. Now strong carry. Almost through goes Josh Wish. This is really good work from Munster. Ball available for Conor Murray. An advantage, which means Jack Crowley will hammer a cross kick. This will be a 1-on-1 with Peter Gamedi. And John Hodnett gets away from one. Still going. Oh, that's good. That's so good. Well played. Well played. I think it was actually going to be Kane Moody over there. And that's a very, very big moment in the game. Such a good cross kick that from Crowley. Kept it low and just hammered over there and basically said, right, have a one-on-one situation, see what you can do with it. Yeah, it is Kane and Moody that made the mistake. Slipped the tackle, yeah, got to do better. Yeah, and then just, yeah, the desperation. Right, scores level. Quick to come. Conceded very quickly after that red card. So it's going to become a very long 20 minutes, I think, that's for the Bulls. This for the lead. That's a good kick. Off the par. Scores level. And they'll remain level. Right, so the question is, what do the Bulls do? What do they do? Do they make changes? Do they put in another backline player and lose a forward? How do they cope? Gavin Coombs, that's a big carry. Such a big player. Slow boy. I think it's still inside 22 years. Conor Murray can kick for touch. Good take that for Billy. Pops it up to Embarrass up here. Zanko Swan pulls on for JF van Heerden. Peter Gamedi trying to get out outside of Gavin Coombs. Ruin for Mark. That's a nice solid carry. Good physicality from Ruin for Mark. I've been very impressed with his work since moving to the Bulls. Embarrass up here now going to Billy at first see. Billy to Akafana working hard, getting away from Conor Murray. And that looks like a great turnover from Alex Nankivell. It is indeed. That's fantastic work from the centre. Right, into the last 20 minutes we go. Not too much happening here, so I think Conor Murray's going to go to the boot here. Sebastian de Klerk goes up, and it comes across to Akpan Amovic, and Brosa Pierre comes away with it on the halfway line. Aronso going to Albert Lowe. Lilu goes to the boot. He's gone pretty far that time. Just outside the 22 is Zebo. He's got Crowley inside him, but he goes to the boot himself to Zebo. And Villaru's had to track back. Obviously, one man down in that back line are Bulls. Looks like he'll look for touch here with Villaru. No, right up against that touch line. Kept in by Calvin Nash. And Kanan Moody. Penalty advantage. That was really silly from him. And that's going to be a penalty for Munster all the way back because Kanan Moody, I don't know what he was thinking, really, to be honest. They're still playing, meanwhile, at the bottom there, but whistle has gone quite a while ago. And when you're training the game and trying to get back into, well, sorry, not training the game, it's currently level. But when you've got a man down, for example, under a lot of pressure, you cannot afford to give them easy penalties like that. So that's a bit poor for Kanan Moody. Right, Currie looked to find touch. Down that right-hand side. Will not find touch, though. That's a big mistake from him. Villaru gives it inside to Ambrose Pierre. Ambrose Pierre will hammer the ball back, and he will find touch. It's a very good touch finder as well. That should be about the halfway line. If not, it could actually even be inside Munster's half. Very, very good work there. Poor that from Jack Crowley, though, it must be said. A couple more subs here from Munster. And it is Eugen Clark on, as well as, I think it's Ollie Jaeger. And Chris Smith is on as well. Now, the question is, who has Chris Smith replaced? Have they sacrificed a forward? Good take that. Yeah, you line them up there to Kanan Moody. Good tackle. Simon Ziva comes away with it. And Smith on for LaRue. That's an interesting decision. Currie answer right up against him. But they left such a big door down the short side from him. And now he's going to be bundled up by John Hodnett. Almost did very well there to Currie answer. But it will be a Munster line out just outside the 22. So, yeah, I think looking at it, see if he managed to get in. Well, Bulls are still predicted to win here. I'm not sure if it factors in the red card. It's a bit of a weird one to see that they're still being backed. But there's 17 minutes on the clock. Currently, it is level. A draw doesn't really help either team that much, but I suppose it does keep them ahead of the pack. Over the top of the line out. That's a good line out there. And it's Jack O'Donoghue who comes away with it. Ball available there for Conor Murray. Doesn't look like we're going to see Craig Casey once again. That's a good tackle, though. Now Gavin Coombs hopping his way forward a few meters. Now Crowley. Nankerville. Flat. Almost too flat. And it is too flat. It is forward. Reprieve for Bulls. Right, so it'll be a scrum here. And it will be a Bulls feed. A man down from the red card. So one man down in the back line. Still got a full pack on, though, which is very, very important. Right, and Albert Lowe going down the right-hand side there. Albert Lowe has been good today. Very, very strong as the captain. And Bruce Pierre now has been sucked into that rush. Sebastian de Klerk will come and assist at scrum half. Gives it to Gerard Stennekamp, still in the park. We could see some Pima Tanzwa, who has players. I think it's 50th game for the Bulls today when he comes on. But both props still on for the Bulls. Wilco often does go to about 70 minutes. Now Bruce Pierre goes to the boot. Sebastian de Klerk is circling. And Ziba goes up and takes it very, very well. He's been very good today, has the Munster fullback. Now Murray. Clark. Good carry from him. So tackle from Renan Ludwig. Crowley. Popping in. Oh, it was almost great. Popping in a short tight burn. You can't hold on. Knock on. Turnover ball for the Bulls. Munster looking good, but getting a little bit sloppy in the last pass or two. Bulls under a lot of pressure here. Right, I think that's the end of Crowley's game. Looks like Joey Carberry's coming on. So that's the full bench on for Munster. Hodnett on, Craig Casey was on and then back off. And Joey Carberry has just come onto the park, I assume, for Jack Crowley, unless Jack Crowley's going to shift in the centres. But I think with the way that Alex Nankerville's playing, I wouldn't do that. But we're waiting for confirmation on exactly who he has replaced. It is a Bulls put into the scrum here. I haven't seen too many scrum penalties today, actually. It's been pretty even. Scrum's gone down. Ball available for Ambrose Appiah. Skips the pass and goes straight to David Creel. Gets part over one. Good work from him. Now Ambrose Appiah to Janko Swanepoel. Always easy to identify with that long blonde hair. Oh, it's a huge tackle on Gerard Stennekamp. He's been driven back by a couple of Munster defenders. Ambrose Appiah now decided to go down the left-hand side. In fact, he goes back into the pocket. Chris Smith, nothing on, goes to the boot. And Kurt Lawrence is circling. That's a great take, though, from Calvin Nash, who's then hammered hard by Ruin for Mark. Ball available here for Munster and Conor Murray. Between options, Carberry goes to the boot, and I do see a Jack Crowley, so it looks like he's probably got to the centres. Back to Joey Carberry. What can he conjure up? He wants to go himself, and he's been hammered by Kane and Moody. Turnover ball here. Albert Lowe has then thrown it back to John Hodnett, and John Hodnett's going down the left-hand side, yeah. Ankle tap, so just available there. Albert Lowe, I think, has to release that. Should be available there for Conor Murray. Munster on the front foot. Carberry. Frisch, and it's almost out the outside for O'Donoghue. He's eventually brought down. Very good momentum this for Munster. Frisch, seeing a bit of space in behind. And Albert actually completely overcooked that. It's going to go dead there. Ambrose Appiah doing very, very well just to marshal it behind. Right, check comes Pima Tanzima, as well as Mornay Smith. So they do replace the two props with just over 12 or just under 12 minutes to go. Right, big moment now for the Bulls, yeah, with that replacement there. They've pretty much emptied their bench. I think it's just Zach Berger who's not on the park yet. Confirmation, by the way, that it was indeed Alex Nankerville who came on. So Jack Crowley operating inside centre now. Right, so an opportunity here with the scrum for the two new Bulls props. It's a Bulls scrum outside the 22. Ball going dead, so scrum back where they kicked it from. As we're entering the last 11 minutes One more try could win it. A penalty could win it. This game hangs in the balance. Very important for the Bulls to try and get over the line here. It'll be massive at Munster, though. Come to the Bulls and get a result. We have another reset here as the clock continues to tick away. Reminder, we will be live for the Stormers game, which starts immediately after this, down in Cape Town, up against the Ospreys. And it will be none other than Darren, who will be commentating that one. And then we're live again on Monday with Ruse taking you through the Varsity Cup final. Because we're going to be actually in Bloemfontein. And then next weekend, we've got Scarlets versus Sharks, Bulls versus Ospreys, Lions versus Munster, Stormers versus Leinster, as well as the Varsity Shield final on the Friday. So plenty of action happening next week as well. So make sure if you are new, subscribe to the channel. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you. Now, down the left-hand side, Peter Gamedi, cheapers, he's just manhandled, but then lost the forward. Very frustrating. I mean, he threw, I think it was Conor Murray down to the ground, and then lost the ball in the process. So frustrating from him. He's having such a good season as Peter Gamedi. And you can see, just throws the Conor Murray, and then Jack O'Donoghue just lodging the ball in the tackle. So turnover ball now at the scrum time. And penalty for Munster at scrum time. That's a big moment now. Now they can go to the corner. Less than 10 minutes on the clock. IPL not particularly happy with that call. Decision time, yeah. I think they're thinking about taking the 3. It looks like they're going to go to the corner. No, they're going to go to the corner. Not a bad kick there from Jack Crowley. I think the call came from the touch ref. Yeah, you can see there's Superior Matanzimo's arm collapsing on that other side there. Elbow on the ground. That's the problem. Bulls have seen the last 3 penalties in the 54th, 63rd, and 72nd minute. Basically, a penalty every 10 minutes. Good line at the end. Gavin Coombs with the back. So carry 5 minutes out now, Munster. Conor Murray. It's a good carry that from Jaeger. Right on the doorstep here are Munster. Conor Murray then being brought into the ruck. Pop it up, and it's just short. Just short. Tight burn. Presented well for Conor Murray. I had to use it quickly, I think. Coombs just short. Joey Carberry is begging for the ball. He's not happy as Joey Carberry. Rightfully so. I think it was the back before he wanted a quick ball, and he reckons he had lots of... I think he did have space. Nah, penalty advantage. It goes to Jack Crowley. Crowley popping up to Zebo. Zebo's tackled well, though. And they'll go back for the penalty here. No, it's available for Conor Murray. Goes to Carberry. Carberry steps inside. Pops it back to Murray. Murray on the outside. Just short as Conor Murray. No, has he reached and scored? He has indeed. He has indeed. Well, that could be it. Conor Murray, it's a great try. It's a good reach from him. The experience as well. Penalty advantage. And I think that's the probably, the one-man advantage really there. Just a bit of space there. Carberry doing very well to drag in a couple of defenders there. Then just wrong-footing Albert Lowe. He just can't quite get enough of Conor Murray's stop. And then he reaches over and places it very, very well. Yeah, it's good work there from Conor Murray. Right, Crowley with the conversion. Very important one, actually. 5 points in the game. This to make it a 7-point lead with 5.5 minutes left on the clock. And flags will remain down. A converted try will still do it for the Bulls, but they've got to go and find it within the last 5 minutes. Conor Murray cramping up. Yeah, he's had to put in a big shift there. Craig Casey in that HRA, literally about 4 minutes after he came on. So not much of a break here for Conor Murray. He's struggling. And I think Chris Smith needs to probably kick this quite deep and try and a big chase and see if they can get themselves a line out inside Munster territory. Keep within the forwards, probably the best option. And Chris Smith does go very high, not too deep, but it's very, very high. And there's a big chase there from Sebastian de Klerk. And eventually one from Mark has been told to leave him down. Good carry that from Gavin Coombs. And going to go to the box kick here is Conor Murray. Uses the call there from the referee. And Murray will just chip it into touch. Not going to find a lot of territory there. It'll be halfway between the 10 metre and the 22. I think he's struggling quite a bit here as Conor Murray. Altitude. What's it? That sign, the 1,000, how many meters it matters. And I think Munster started to feel it. So this is the only thing that the Bulls can rely on is a tired Munster side. This was during the afternoon. It would have helped a lot as well. But right now, Munster will go ahead of the Bulls by 2 points. They have got a bonus point. And Devin Williams, who I thought was on already. I'm a bit confused by that. And Zach Berger on from Versa Pierre. Jack Swanepoel goes up. Good win from him. Looking for the rolling more here are the Bulls. Ak van der Merwe controlling things at the back here. Zach Berger is lurking. Here comes Albert Lowe to add his weight. They're trying to sort of peel to the left. Still going as the Maul. Once is the call. Zach Berger's going to look to use it right up against the touchline. Now flat to David Creel. Solid carry from him. Now Mornay Smith, the tight head. Just short of the 22 here are the Bulls. Zach Berger going down the right-hand side, keeping in the forwards. Goes to Janko Swanepoel. Flat to Sapir Matanzima. Gavin Coombs working hard in the tackle. It's relentless from the Bulls, but it's good defense so far from Munster. 8 phases. Peter Gamedi. Defense up quickly. Need to get their timing right here, Munster. Can't afford to concede a penalty here. 3.5 minutes left on the clock here. Ak van der Merwe being driven backwards by John Hodnett and Conor Murray. Now Albert Lowe puts his head down. They've lost a lot of field position here. Have Bulls all the way back to the 10 metre line. Right, Chris Smith now goes short to Morley Smith. He pops it up to Creel. Long pass out towards Devin Williams. Devin Williams, an exciting player. Chips ahead, and it comes off of Simon Zebo, and it will go out into touch. It will be a Bulls line out. Might be an opportunity for them to kind of reset. 3 minutes left on the clock, though. They are running out of time. And Zebo now getting some attention. Been very good tonight as Simon Zebo. What can the Bulls conjure up here? It is a lineout. It looks like they're going to have a 4-man lineout. Unless they're just taking a while to get there. I think that could actually be the case. Unless they might... I don't know if they've got the option of the scrum. That will be a lineout. Very even game. If you look at the tackles made there, 111 by the Bulls, 113 from Munster, 13 missed by the Bulls, 17 missed for Munster. So pretty even from a tackling perspective and how much tackling both each side have done. And it's a good line there for Ruben from Mark. Looking for the rolling more once again here. Doesn't look amazingly well set. But Akafana Merva now out low comes and joins. David Creel as well coming in. There's one Bulls player over there. And Akafana Merva comes across. He uses it. They're looking to hold him up, but manages to race himself down to the ground. Ball available. Randall Ludwig popping up for Pilo Gamede. Pops up to Morley Smith, who's coming around the corner. Good tackle on him from Joe Carberry. Now out low. That's a nice bit of a run with a bit of intent. Zach Berger, quick ball, looking for options. Pops inside to Chris Smith, who pops inside to Pilo Gamede. And it's been very, very well turned over. That could potentially be the game. Still 2 minutes, but it's a good turnover that from Ahern. Very, very good work there from Munster. And now I'm sure Conor Murray's going to go through a few phases and then kick this as far down the field as possible. Right, does go to the boots. Makes it contestable as Conor Murray right up against the touchline. Currie Lyons is going back. Takes it very, very well. Bulls are asking for a high tackle. Referee's not moving. Zach Berger now looking for options. Goes to around Ludwig. Bulls back inside their own half. But with possession, Zach Berger shows and goes. Was wrapped up by Ty Byrne. Who was aware of the snipe. Now Janko Swanepoel. Good carry from him. Yeah, referee not buying it from Zach Berger, trying to get a penalty. Albert Lowe now. He's a bit of intent there. You see, he's carrying with intent. Nobody else seems to be ready to be carrying intent. Like that, Morley Smith was just a standing start. Now Chris Smith going short. Ruben from Mark holding on to it, but Bulls is not making any gain line advantage. Creel now. And he makes a meter or two. Ball available for Zach Berger. It's Puma Tanzima. He puts his head down. Makes a meter. Peter Gamedi picks it up and goes himself. Slightly isolated though, but Jack O'Donoghue missed it the first time. Pick up and go from Puma Tanzima. Slowly but surely the Bulls up towards the 10-meter line. And the clock has officially gone red. Waiting for the siren to go, but it isn't to... there it is. There's the siren. Last roll of the dice here for the Bulls. Any mistake, and that's the game. Good carry that from Gamedi. Ball available though for Zach Berger. So many phases. No, in fact, it's come back to the Munster side. Conor Murray's gone back, and Jack Crowley will kick it out, and that's a huge victory for Munster. They've gone to Loftus. They've emerged victorious. Disappointment on the Bulls fans' faces. Archie Snyman, however, with a big smile. The travelling support loves it. And I tell you what, don't count out the current champions, because they've just come to to Pretoria, and showed exactly what they can do. The Bulls, the big card, I think probably the difference there from Jan Kussen. You can see the frustration on Bulls players' faces. It wasn't a bad effort from them, but with 25 minutes down to 14 men, it was always going to be a big ask. People, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to hand you over to Darren, who will be live very shortly for Stormers versus Ospreys, the final South African game of the weekend. There are 3 URC caches tonight, bringing up a close to this week.